to you by Full Throttle Power Sports. Here's the most visible member of the SwampBats and our ambassador of goodwill, number 00, Ribby. I'd like to remind you
The rainstorm slobbering over the New England area goes south, and the NECBL goes north. At the battle of the top two teams, the North Division 5-2 Vermont, 5-2 Keene, early on two powerhouses early in the summer of 2024. I'm Sean Massey, the voice of the SwampBats, joined today by the voice of the Mountaineers, Josh Bartosik. Josh, it's a great day here at Alumni Field. The rain held off and some great baseball to be played.
It really is. It's the only game that hasn't been postponed today in the NECBL. And to talk about these two teams, Vermont comes in the hottest offense in the NECBL. They lead the NECBL with 54 runs scored already. They lead the NECBL with a 256 batting average. They're top three in everything else, 26 stolen bases, 12 doubles, 45 walks, and the best fielding percentage as well. It's been a great start to the year for them. They're trying to keep it rolling against a very good Keene team as well, like you mentioned. The two top teams in the North Division based off record, and this should be a really fun one today.
A high-powered offense on the Vermont side, and the Keene side started hot. In the last two games, the offense has not been there, but splitting it 1-1 in the process. We'll take a quick break here on ESPN+. Bring it back to Alumni Field in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, for a battle of the North on ESPN+.
Of the 2024 SwampBats is Sean McKenna. Assistant Sean are Casey O'Brien and John Miller. Now, the BABA Network Thunderbirds starting lineup for your own Keene SwampBats. Joining the bats as they take the field this evening with a small delegation of baseball buddies representing Keene Force. Leading off for the SwampBats, the second baseman, number 1, Alex Alisea. Accompanying Alex is Caleb Clark from Keene Force. And in second, the left field, number 3, Joe Japonski, accompanied by Carson Dubisky. Batting third, the third baseman, 27th, Bryce Molinaro, accompanied by Caroline Russo. Batting cleanup tonight for the SwampBats, the designated hitter, number 34, Ricky Reese, accompanied by Dax Cavaldi. Batting fifth, the first baseman, number 35, Alex Calaco. Batting sixth, center fielder, number 39, Andrew Wigan. Batting seventh, the right fielder, number 32, Brett House. In the eighth spot, the catcher, number 22, J.D. Jones. And batting ninth, the shortstop, number 21, Nick Romano. On the mound this evening for the SwampBats, from Penn State University, number 42, Ben Shinosky. Umpires for tonight's game, Brian Roth behind the plate, with Chuck Furlong and Phil Levesque on the bases. Everyone has been affected by cancer, whether you yourself have or are fighting cancer, or someone you love has been afflicted, and it's affected us all. Every year, over 20 million people are diagnosed with cancer, and over 9 million lose their life fighting the battle worldwide. Pink in the Park is a special night where we honor those afflicted by this horrible disease. Tonight we want to bring awareness to this cause, as well as celebrate and remember those who have fought, are fighting, and will fight cancer. Tonight we'd like to honor Joan W., Art J., Andrea D., Christopher S., Susanna T., Joyce F., Peter F., and Carleen F. Also, today our hearts are with the Watterson family as they remember the matriarch, Barbara Watterson, a brave breast cancer survivor and longtime SwampBats fan who passed last fall. She is greatly missed. At this time, we'd like to recognize those who have fought and or are currently fighting cancer. We'd ask that you would stand if able, and please remain standing. Have a round of applause for those people, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, cancer truly affects us all. This time, we would like to have a moment of silence to commemorate those who have lost this battle and stand with those currently fighting. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. At this time, draw your attention to the area behind home plate for the singing of the national anthem. This evening being performed by Heather Doyle. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, we have two ceremonial first pitches. Going on the first ceremonial pitch is Chris Spatt. Chris is a cancer survivor and longtime SwampBats fan. Also throwing out first pitch this evening is Matt Johnson of Walton, New Hampshire. Out of the season ticket holder, local hockey coach,
back at Alumni Field again, the midst of 11-11 for the SwampBats. And this Friday evening, they face the Vermont Mountaineers. Sean Massa joined by Josh Bartosic today, and I mean, this matchup can't be any bigger with the stakes.
It really can. I mean, you know, we already talked about it a lot in that opening, but yeah, it's a 44-game season. It's only about game 8 or 9. Well, these teams, game 8. But again, it's such a tough season, right? It's a shortened season. It kind of feels like almost every game there's so much on the line. It's only 2 months, 44 games. And a chance to secure solely first place in this division this early on. These teams will also play again this weekend on Sunday, but you want to get the ball rolling. You want to really set the tone. I think both these teams are looking to do that tonight.
Keene sends out a new arm, his first appearance of the summer, number 42, Ben Shanowski, the righty, 6'5", 215, formerly with Wake Forest, and next year will be pitching for the Nittany Lions in the Big Ten. And I know, Josh, you're happy about that one, and you're going to see a future Nittany Lion today. That's the first time we see Shanowski this year with Wake Forest. 5-3, a 6.63 ERA, 20 games, was mainly used out of the bullpen, did not start, but 38 innings, 28 earned runs, 41 strikeouts, and just 18 walks. Back in summer ball after being in the Valley League last summer, and looking for a big one today as Keene trying to make it back-to-back wins, winning on the road yesterday at Bristol, and now facing the Mountaineers in a battle of the North Division. Vermont, on the other hand, they had yesterday off, but also sitting at 5-2, have had a pretty good start to the year and trying to keep their train rolling as well.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, we talked about it in that opening, just such a hot offense. They had a 5-game win streak get snapped. That was because of just the end of 5 games in a row in 5 straight days. Everyone was just exhausted trying to get back home. They lost in a game to Mystic that had a awkward delay about halfway through the game, about 30 minutes or so. But we're looking to get back to the win column, and I think, like you mentioned, Keene is also near the top of that division at the top. They're looking to build off of their win against Bristol.
First pitch breaking ball called for a strike at 6:40 on a beautiful evening. Ben Shanowski's first foe is the center fielder, Josiah Ragsdale. And for Vermont, as that one, second pitch jabbed out to left, and just like that, midst of a sentence, Ragsdale stands on first with a leadoff poke single to left field.
Ragsdale's been so good since starting for Vermont. He's originally from Ione. He's in the transfer portal right now, looking to go somewhere else. He's got a hit in every game he's played for so far for Vermont. Had a double on the 12th against Mystic. Leads things off with a single, and he loves attacking early in the at-bat. We saw him get a couple of first pitch singles a few games ago against Danbury. And again, attacking early, trying to get ahead in this game.
So just like that, a leadoff single, the third breaking ball that Shanowski's thrown again, 74 in the zone, out of the zone to Sam Angelo, the next hitter. Vermont trying to end their little historic, not so hot streak here, 24-45 all time at Alumni Field, but there's a high fly ball to center field, on a cue at the wall, Wiggins looks up, it's gone! 2-0 early on, 5 pitches in. Sam Angelo, the DH, goes yard, and Vermont on top early in Keene.
That was a shot and a half by Sam Angelo. He had 18 home runs this past spring for the Redhawks. That's already his second home run, technically third if you count the Martha's Vineyard game this summer for the Mountaineers. And this is a guy who was taken out about after the first inning in the game against Mystic, had some hamstring problems. He comes in. I don't think his hamstring's hurting anymore. I think that UNC is where he's transferring next year. They're going to really like that pop at the dish. That was a rocket of a shot.
It helps your hamstring when you get to jog around the bases after going 341 to left center field and clearing the fence. As the next hitter, the 3 spot, Lucas Manning, fouls off the first pitch. And early on, it seems like Vermont is just tracking the 6'5 Shanowski so well.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they've been attacking early, right? There's a first pitch or a second pitch single from Ragsdale, second pitch home run from Angel. They're not really letting these counts get ahead of them. They're not really letting these at-bats drag out, and that was what led to them having some success against the Westerners a few games ago. Not so much success against Mystic, but they're trying to get back into that groove. This is the first time we've seen Lucas Manning this year.
Again on that one, attacked quickly, so 2 straight pitches have been fouled off as Lucas Manning in an 0-2 hole. Shanowski is trying to ignore the back-to-back single and homer and just get something to go his way, because just like that, it's 2-0. He's got the heart of the order, 3-4-5 now essentially leading off in this one.
And Lucas Manning out of Wofford had a pretty big season for the Terriers, a 343 average, 20 RBIs, 6 doubles.
But he goes down swinging at that breaking ball, was sorted on the outside, so a big first out. But just like that, one away, still 2-0 Vermont quickly.
Yeah, I don't think Shanoski's the guy that, a home run in the inning, in the first inning is really going to affect him that much. He's a guy pitched at Wake Forest, like you said. He's used to a lot of high stress, high tense situations, and I don't think it's really going to affect him that much. Very nice bounce back at bat for him to get that first out, especially with the strikeout.
Goes down low again, it's swung at again, and Vermont has shown no source of just letting up. They have swung at nearly everything so far and gone their way. But an 0-1 now to Norton, the third baseman, in the cleanup spot.
Well, it shows you how they have scored the most runs in the NECBL. That includes getting shut out in their first game of the season against Sanford. I mean, they attack so well, and when they do get a hold of one, it leaves yard a lot, especially like that one with Sam Angelo. A lot of, like we mentioned, a lot of extra base hits. They're leading the NECBL in doubles as well.
Angelo leaves off that one in the dirt at 86 for a 2-1 count.
This is only the second at-bat this summer for Brennan Norton, a guy out of Jacksonville State, first team All-Conference USA.
Waved at that one well in front, 76 out of the hand of Shanoski. Looking for back-to-back strikeouts, and that would definitely help the confidence after 1-2. Made it a 2-0 lead, just like that, the snap of a finger. Shanoski working quickly in the dirt again, got him to fish, and back-to-back swinging strikeouts on beautiful low breaking balls. It's a little bit of confidence added back into the team in today, wearing pink for Pink in the Park night.
Yeah, I mean, the off-speed that we've talked about so far early on for Shanoski is just working so well. I mean, he's getting these batters ahead of, besides obviously Ragsdale and Angelo, but Lucas Manning and Brennan Norton. Granted, they haven't played a lot. There's only one combined at-bat between the two of them coming into today's game this season. They're very new, but they were still not able to really read the ball out of his hands. And this is a Keene offense that when they can get hot, they can really do some damage. I don't think a 2-run deficit is really that big in their minds early on.
Especially for a team who went into yesterday's Thursday matchup against Bristol leading in OPS and slugging. It's dipped a little bit as of late, but 0-2 is chopped away. Another low breaking ball that was just fooled Jensen. Able to stay alive and put that one in foul territory.
Yeah, and you've been mentioning a lot the low breaking balls. He really hasn't steered away from that, especially after the home run, and it's still catching these Vermont hitters off guard.
Goes to a fastball on that one, just misses it, they'll say, on the inside of the plate. Rode a little bit too far in on the chalk, and it works to a 1-2. Vermont working up the pitch count. This will be the 18th pitch of the inning for Shanoski. Another low breaking ball and another foul off as it tails to the Keene bullpen. And staying alive in this at-bat is Max Jensen.
Doing a really good job. Still behind in the count 1-2. We've really only seen 2 balls be thrown by Shanoski so far. But this is a guy in Jensen who has had a fantastic season for the Big Red. A 358 average, was first team All-Ivy League. End of the season, an 8-game run streak, and had a 19-game hit streak stretched out in the middle of his season. So he's got the ability to put the bat to ball.
Doesn't on that one, the third strikeout, or will it be? They say he got a piece of it, but it did not get in the glove of J.D. Jones behind the plate. They say it one hop to him, and we'll do it all over again. The infield started trotting in like that was strikeout number 3 in a row for Shanoski. And that one's jammed foul. No one can be able to give chase as Molinaro, the third baseman, started over in foul territory. And these are those moments where it's really a hard call to make if you're home plate umpire Brian Roth, but he gives an extra life to Jensen. And if you're number 6 in the left-hand batter's box, you gotta get due. But another low breaking ball. This one is swung through, and this one finds the mitt of J.D. Jones. So a single and a bomb to make it 2-0 before something even happened. 3 straight swinging strikeouts from Shanoski to recover. The offense trying to get it back on ESPN+. Top of the order gets a 2-run cushion before William John even has to throw a pitch, and now the lefty gets to start with a 2-0 lead.
Can't really ask for a lot more when you're a starting pitcher on the road. And William John, he did pitch earlier this year against Sanford on June 9th, 2 1/3, no hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. He's kind of a bit of a two-way player for Cornell this past year. A lot of Cornell players on this Mountaineers team. He had a 158 average, an RBI, and a double. But he also had 12 appearances on the mound, a 9.71 ERA, and 25 strikeouts in 29 2/3. And we already heard from head coach of the Mountaineers, Mitch Holmes. It's going to be a bullpen day. It's a team that's used a lot of arms, right? They had 5 games in a row, and they had 1 off day yesterday. So you could see a lot of different arms out there, but William John's going to look to get the ball rolling and keep it a 2-0 advantage for now for the Mountaineers.
Keene has gotten pretty lucky in the past few games. They've had games, especially as of yesterday, where only 2 pitchers pitched long enough to not be ready for the next day, using Timpanelli and Westman yesterday, with Isaac Williams getting the save, but technically by pitch count being ready. Top of the order with Alex Alisea, Joe Jakonski, and Bryce Molinaro. The pretty typical 1-2-3 for the Keene SwampBats. Alisea, the switch hitter, hitting out of the right side, watches strike 1 down low. Alisea yesterday on the road at Bristol had a single and came around to score, and also walked in the 9th inning and was driven in by an RBI triple by the man on deck, the Nittany Lion, who was the NECBL Player of the Week in Week 1, hitting .625 and having himself possibly the best start you could even draw up for a bat. 1-1, Alisea rips at it and fouls it off for a 1-2.
You mentioned there's a lot of Penn State talent in this Keene roster, and Bryce Molinaro, Joe Jakonski have been so good to start. I think the new head coach, Mike Gambino, out there at Penn State, did a great job in his first year. It's liking the talent he's seeing.
Alisea to short, Bishop, a weird play that throws a little bit low, and they gun him by maybe a half step. A bang-bang play, and Alisea can't leg it out, and give the credit to Bishop right there, making the play practically on a knee in the backhand.
Casey Bishop is not a normal shortstop playing guy. He normally plays either third or second, but he has really slotted in these last few games and has been phenomenal defensively. Nothing's really gotten by him. You see it on that one. He's got a cannon and is so sound defensively. He's kind of like a Velcro out there in the shortstop position.
Nasty breaking ball gets the zone for an 0-1 quickly to Joe Jakonski, the first lefty-lefty we're seeing, and then he blows a fastball right by him at 89. And an 0-2 just like that. Jakonski was a little cold yesterday, but ended up getting a big RBI triple in the 9th. Watches that one bounce well before the plate for an easy take and a 1-2, excuse me.
Yeah, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, a .613 on-base percentage through 7 games is just unheard of. It's going to be crucial for John to try and get him out, because we saw after a base runner was put aboard for Vermont, they immediately took advantage. Yeah.
On the cue, 89 down low, gets him to swing through, and William John, a soft ground out to short, and then takes easy care of a Nittany Lion and Joe Jakonski, and he moves over to another Nittany Lion now, and Bryce Molinaro.
While Joe Jakonski does have more experience than Bryce Molinaro might be a more dangerous bat. He just finished his redshirt freshman year at Penn State, a .329 average, 45 RBIs, 13 doubles. He ended the season on an 18-game hitting streak, which is the longest active in the Big Ten, was easily the best player for the Nittany Lions alongside Adam Cecere on their miracle run to the Big Ten championship game against Nebraska, where they fell 2-1. He's got so much pop at the plate.
Hasn't taken the bat off the shoulder yet here in a 1-1, and you can't go past possibly the biggest hit in Penn State baseball history, the go-ahead grand slam against the University of Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. 1-1, doesn't even get to the plate before it bounces for a 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the middle of his 18-game hitting streak, and that was a much-needed one because Penn State fell down early in that game. They're at risk of getting knocked out of the Big Ten tournament throughout that entire series, and to do it against a team like Michigan, who is a rival for Penn State, despite what some Michigan fans might think. Penn State and Michigan are rivals in several sports. To be able to do that against your biggest rival and propel you to the Big Ten championship game can ask for much more.
Swung through strike 2, watches that one on the back foot, bounce again for a full count. So Molinaro with the best workday bees so far. Alisea swung early, and then Jakonski went down not very thoughtfully. That one down low, ball 4. Molinaro works his team leading walk believe that's number 10 on the year, and it is for number 27.
Yeah, he had a .500 on base percentage coming in today. So when you get on base about half of your at bats, again, that's such a dangerous part of the lineup. And now, maybe if you're John, you have a little bit less anxiety because you went through, like you mentioned, the two hottest hitters on Keene and two of the best bats in the NECBL. You have to face a guy in Ripken Reese who's already got 2 home runs on the season.
Ripken Reese slots in on the right side, fouls off the first pitch. Was 0 for 4 yesterday on the road, but all 4 in the air. And talked to hitting coach Casey O'Brien on the bus after the big win against the Blues. All 4 were barrels and just somehow found gloves. So Reese just looking to straighten one out and maybe take advantage of the weird dimensions of Alumni Field. Gets even to the count 1-1 as that one misses down low.
And this is a SwampBats team that's leading the NECBL. They have 9 home runs in the year. Like you mentioned, the weird dimensions of the Alumni Field, we kind of saw it. Sam Angelo's blast only went below 350 feet, according to TrackMan, and so this is a very hitters-friendly park.
Jammed him inside, shallow right field. Everyone charging in. It'll bloop inside. Barehanded by the right fielder. Root throws it over, and now they got him in a pickle. Extending to second, slides in under the throw, and somehow, some way, make it second and third with 2 away. Okay, don't really know what happened right there, but give credit to Root. What a bare hand. Went to go gun Molinaro rounding second to third, and somehow Ripken Reese, almost with a frozen deer in headlights, he stands on second.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to rule it as a single and then advancing to second or just a double, but what heads-up base running to realize that he had the opportunity, and then the second that he saw the throw over to first, he immediately broke back to second and got in safely. And now you have a chance where not only can you tie the game on a hit up the middle into the outfield, but a home run gives you the lead.
Well, this one will help. Pass ball goes through, wild pitch, but Molinaro scores 90 feet away from tying, and now it's a 2-1 ball game. And it's Alex Calarco at the plate, another Big Ten bat from the University of Maryland. Is 2 for his last 5 with 2 doubles. Came in as a pinch hitter 2 nights ago against the Mainers as a lefty, the switch hitter. Put a double down the right field line, and then yesterday on the road had another double. Takes a swing at the 1-0, fouls it off back into the trees behind Alumni Field for a 1-1 count.
And if you're John, the last thing you needed to do was essentially gift a run to Keene after your team came out and had the 2-0 lead. I mean, a pass ball or wild pitch is never a pitcher's best friend.
That one chopped up the middle. Good reaction from Johnny. Goes to first, and a late tag from Jensen as he applies it. So 1 run scores. Keene strands Ripken Reese at third. Chopping back down 2-1 as we go to the second inning at Alumni Field. Ben Shanowski takes the mound again. He led up 2 to start the top of the first. His offense at least gets half of that back. It's a 2-1 lead for Vermont after an inning of play. And you said it best last inning, Josh. Basically, essentially, William John giving a run to Keene with the wild pitch.
Yeah, it's, again, not the thing you want to see happen out there on the mound. But before that, he was doing a really solid job. Like we mentioned, he had the ground out from the leadoff man, and then Joe Jaconski got him a strikeout. He walked Bryce Molinaro, who eventually came around to score. But again, we talked about it. The Jaconski and Molinaro have been such hot hitters for Keene that you don't necessarily think that the walk is going to do that much damage. And then the wild pitch after the bloop single kind of changed the trajectory. But now, if you're Jaconski out there on the mound, you saw your offense basically be gifted a run. Vermont have a little more confidence. You have one inning already under your belt. You already gave up a run, so no chance for a no-hitter or a perfect game. Just go out there and do what you do best and do what Wake Forest saw you do and what Penn State's hoping to see you do next year.
Ended that first inning after the single and home run back-to-back with 3 straight swinging strikeouts. He faces 6, 7, 8 with Nick Notarangelo, who way under that one, chops it down the line. Calarco calls off, scoops and tags the bag, and an easy ground out. Calarco unassisted.
And we're noticing still that a lot, besides the single and the home run, Shanoski is ahead of these hitters. They're lunging out. Again, the off speed, they're not really able to find it so far. A weak ground ball, a lot of weak contact from Manny Norton and Jensen, who they eventually struck out. So if he sticks with his off speed stuff, it seems like so far it's going to be very tough for these Vermont hitters to be able to kind of time it up and line it up and add on to their 1-run lead.
Brings up Braxton McGuire from Georgia Gwinnett out of the left side. Watches the first pitch inside and talked about it since that back-to-back little stumble at the top of the order. Single home run, 2-0. It's been really good. It's been 4 up, 4 down with 3 strikeouts mixed in there all in a row, but he hits him on that one on the inside. So McGuire will label one on the right leg and go over to first base. Brings up the 8th spot with Bo Root.
Welcome to the NECBL. Braxton McGuire's first at-bat this year for Vermont gets doinked on the side of the leg like you just mentioned, and now you get a free base. How are you going to try and attack that? This is a guy that had 35 stolen bases for the Grizzlies this past spring.
First pitch down low, called for a strike to Root. Part of that, basically, you want to say perennial powerhouse at Georgia Gwinnett, always one of the top 5-ish teams in the NAIA, competing with the likes of Southeastern. Another breaking ball hammer, deep right field. Bo Root goes deep at the track to climb off the board. The second 2-run shot in back-to-back innings for Vermont. The #1 offense in the NECBL does not lie.
How about that for Bo Root? Just had 5 home runs this past spring for Middlebury. He's going to UConn next year. UConn's going to love that pop as well. And how about that response from Vermont? They led the game off with a 2-run shot. They gave up a run in the bottom of the first, and they come right back and say, we're going to double that lead. And what a response, what a job, and how about Bo Root? The old school approach, no batting gloves. You don't see it a lot in the NECBL or in college baseball or professional baseball for that matter. What a job by him, and especially this bottom half of the lineup coming together and making it count.
Brings up the 9 spot, Casey Bishop, the shortstop. Takes ball 1 and now takes ball 2, both outside in the left-hand box. And if you're Shanoski, it's a tough start to have. The home run goes 322 off the scoreboard in the short porch in right center field. And a 3-0 count all outside to the righty Bishop.
Well, Bishop, normally you don't see your 9-hole hitter be the hottest batter, but this is what it is for Vermont. Casey Bishop was just Vermont Player of the Week this last week. I mean, he's hitting 375 on the early season, 7 runs scored, 3 RBIs, and a 467 on-base percentage. And you kind of talk about it. He's a guy that is essentially a second leadoff guy, because when you have someone that gets on base as much as he does at the bottom half of the order, and he's able to either work a walk or work a single, then the top half of the lineup continues to come through. So he's a guy that has really excelled and thrived in this 9-hole spot.
He's got a payoff pitch, watches the breaking ball go down low, so a 3-0's fought back from Shanoski. He's got to go back to the stretch where he's only thrown to 2 batters out of that spot, and both have left the yard. And now sets top of the order, Josiah Ragsdale for the 2nd time already here in the 2nd inning.
And they were both on the 2nd pitch of an at-bat, too, where the home runs were hit coming out of the stretch. So maybe there's already something that Vermont is seeing early on. You'll see some conversation. Probably we're going to see a pitching visit out there on the mound for Shanoski.
Now we see an arm jogging over. It's Braxton Stewart, the lefty, going to go to the bullpen and start getting ready, as Shanoski has had a not-so-pretty start to his outing. And this is a dangerous spot. Talk about that home run. Both of the bombs have been let up after he enters the stretch and someone gets on base. He enters the stretch again now as he faces Josiah Ragsdale. And a quick visit from John Nowak, but definitely just need to see something go his way. Not in the stretch, 4 up, 4 down. In the stretch, not so fun. We'll see if Ragsdale keeps that trend going or if Shanoski can rebound in a big big way. First pitch, fastball finds the zone, and it's an 0-1 count. Bishop with a nice lead at first. This one's high in the air to right field. It's tailing towards the corner. House veering over, takes 2 steps in and makes the catch just in front of that one off the barrel of Ragsdale. And we almost saw 3 straight 2-run blasts.
Yeah, Ragsdale just got under that one. It carried a little bit, but died. A nice job by House to track it because that one was really skied out there into right field. And I think for Shanoski, I think he can kind of really settle in now. He's got that out with coming out of the stretch. Again, now he's got to face a guy that just hit the 2-run home run in the last inning in Sam Angelo.
First pitch at the letters, left off from Angelo. Wouldn't be shocked if we see Casey Bishop maybe take off here, try to get in scoring position. He'd be 180 feet away. He won't have to take off early. He takes off on time, around second base. But J.D. Jones able to get by quick enough, keep him over there at second, but he advances on the wild pitch.
Yeah, well, Casey Bishop is a guy who does like stealing a lot, already 4 stolen bases this year, but like you mentioned, it doesn't have to when he's a free base issued on the pass ball. And now anything hit it up the middle or sharply through the infield will score Bishop. He's got that speed to round third with ease.
Now if you're Angelo, just poke one out to the outfield and you can drive in the 5th run of the game already, but he's got a 3-0 count. And with a bat that already hit a 2-run blast, I would not doubt he's getting the green light. See what he sits on with the 3-0. Shanoski settling in, runner still at second. 3-0 pitch is called for a strike in the lower half for a 3-1. And it is Braxton Stewart at least starting to get ready in the bullpen for the SwampBats. Looks like a few arms over. Down that first base line, getting ready. 3-1, just fouled off on the inner half. Hands underneath, and the count goes full.
Yeah, you know Angelo had the green light on that one. Like you mentioned, already a home run in this game, coming up for the 2nd time in 2 innings. Now he's going to take some time to try and regather himself. But it's not the worst thing for Shanoski if he does walk this batter, because you're facing a guy, Lucas Manning, who would be up for just the 2nd time this summer. You got him swinging pretty easily back in the first with a strikeout, and you have that free base at first. Maybe try and get a bat with that much power out of the lineup.
Down low, left off inside, ball 4. And now 1st and 2nd as we roll over to the 3-spot, Lucas Manning. You talk about that strikeout his last time up, but sometimes offense is contagious.
We'll have to see. I mean, again, this is a guy that had a monster year at Wofford. We talked about it. Only went 1 for 10, but scored 3 runs in that Chapel Hill regional where Wofford struggled. But he's also a guy that 5th in Wofford in average, also 15 hit by pitches, led that team.
Takes strike 1 on the lower half of the zone for an 0-1 from Shanoski. Seeing a few arms jog over to the Keene bullpen. Braxton Stewart, the only one up and throwing at the given moment. Taken outside for ball number 1 to even the count up to Manning. This is the part of the order that has been the only part of the order that Shanoski has had success against. 3, 4, 5 all retired due to strikeouts in the 1st inning, but could really implement their success here in a 2-1 count now left off by Manning.
Yeah, it's pretty rare where you see a pitcher's best success coming against 3, 4, and 5, but if he can take what he's getting against these 3 hitters and try and implement that throughout the rest of the lineup, and if Keene's able to bounce back and claw their way into this game, there's a real chance for Shanoski to go deep in this game, because if you can get those dangerous hitters, that's normally where you see them 3, 4, 5, as quickly and as successfully as he did in the 1st inning. Could be a long rest of the day for Vermont.
Missed it outside again to the 0-1, has gone to a 3-0. This one lined up the middle. Wiggins on the backtrack in the perfect spot. The hardest hit ball today, but this one finds a glove. 2 more are added via Bo Root 2-run blast, and it's 4-1, Vermont on top.
At M&T Bank, we believe in the power of together. Together, we can help your business grow. Together, we can move communities forward while giving back. Together, we can help your family spend more time on what matters most. And together, we can achieve more than ever before.
Six, 7, 8 with Wiggins, House, and J.D. Jones set to take their first rips. It was a 2-1 game after one, and you thought maybe a little confidence for Shinosky, but another 2-run blast and more confidence for William John.
It really has to be, and again, we already talked about when you go out there on the mound and your offense has put up some runs, it just gives you a little bit more confidence out there on the bump. And for a guy William John, who has, already had an appearance this year, this summer, pitching and had some time batting as well, he's really starting to settle into that pitching role. This is a guy that has the opportunity to prove to this Vermont staff and his pitching coach Steve Boley that he has the capability to go deep into these games. It is a bullpen game, but you want to get some endurance from him. You want to get at least 2 or 3 innings and a chance to bounce back. Again, he made quick work with the first 2 batters, then a walk, a single, and a wild pitch really spelt doom for that first run.
First pitch breaking ball took for a strike by Andrew Wiggins, slotting at center field today. Just got here earlier this week, but hasn't had a great week on the stat sheet. Has a pair of walks. Has not been able to record a hit so far this summer. Brett House stands on deck, the man that leads Keene with 3 bombs and 7 RBIs. That one's taken in the zone for a 1-2 on a nasty 74-mile-an-hour breaking ball.
Wiggins, another Big Ten player for this Keene team. They love their Big Ten talent.
Puts that one opposite side on the third base line, but well foul on the inside. He's got to shorten the swing a lot. Yesterday walked back-to-back to start out the game at Bristol, and then had 2 groundouts, both to shortstop. Broken back, ground out to shortstop. Bishop collects, throws over, and make it 3 in a row spanning yesterday. He grounds out to Bishop.
Yeah, that bat got splintered, got jammed on the hands, and we talked about Casey Bishop's ability, but that's Max Jensen over there at first, who came in after Sam Angel to be taken out of the game, only playing at first with his hamstring injury. He moved from third to first. He's done a nice job. Some of these throws have been a little bit low. He's doing a nice job picking them up, scooping them, and not allowing a free base to be issued to Keene.
Brett House with J.D. Jones on deck in the 9-hole spot. Nick Romano playing shortstop for the SwampBats. He slides in. Has 88 taken for the first strike of the AB.
John has not been afraid to go at these hitters, getting ahead in the count early and fast.
And he's up 0-2 really quickly in nearly the blink of an eye as House fouls that one off. House has been pretty decent all year, 3 bombs, but hasn't been able to make a lot of contact other than that. Breaking ball taken, he's down on 3 pitches, and William John might just go 4, maybe 5 if he keeps up this success, and that would be one heck of a start to a bullpen game.
Well, it's always a great feeling when you can tell that your fastball is ahead of these batters. We've seen a lot of weak contact or fouls behind the dish. And then to throw in that off-speed and absolutely freeze a guy like Brett House, who was a top 10 outfielder coming out of high school, playing his college ball at Mississippi State. That's no small feat to be in an SEC school. William John's doing a great job out there so far.
He faces J.D. Jones, another Big Ten bat out of Rutgers, with a 1-0 as the first pitch fastball missed upstairs. John gets him to foul off another one on a fastball for a 1-1 count. And this will be pitch 10 of the inning, and after a 20-pitch first inning, he has just cruised so far with Wiggins and House and now Jones.
And you love when you have an inning that goes under 20 pitches. It really allows you to go deeper into a game.
Almost got him to bite at it. It bounced right at the front of the plate. A rare occurrence so far in this game, so far through 7 hitters, that William John is behind in the count. And that one, a diving play at second, can't be made by McGuire as J.D. Jones with a little bit of life for Keene, a 2-out single into right center field. Thought McGuire honestly was going to snag that one. It was very close, and definitely too close for comfort if you're a SwampBat fan.
It's tough for McGuire because he stands. He's the shortest guy on this Vermont team at 5'6". He was another inch or two, he probably would have had that. Can't hate the effort, but now a chance for a 2-out. It's a little bit of 2-out hitting, 2-out batting for Keene. The bottom half of their lineup has a chance to keep this ball going. And when we talked about it, this is a guy in William John who has not thrown a lot of pitches. So you want to get that pitch count up, and already down 0-1 on an ugly swing in Romano.
Romano trying to get this going after the 2-out single, and he's down 0-2 as he had an ugly check swing on a fastball and then watches the breaking ball. Now got to shorten up if you're the FAU shortstop. 0-2 pitch down low, picked up by Manning, and almost got him with 91. That'll read on the radar.
Fastest pitch we've seen from John today.
Starting to really get going, and the confidence is just brewing, not only on the mound, but the entire Vermont lineup as that one's fouled off, tailing towards the bullpen. Another one, reading at 90.
Can't fault the heart that Nick Romano is showing in the bottom half right now, staying alive in this count after quickly falling down on some tough swings, 0-2. Getting some nice contact, keeping the bat alive.
Breaking ball chops this one weakly back to the mound. Spinning and turning as Johnny delivers. And just like that, William John has some confidence. Vermont has some confidence. And they are firing on all cylinders after 2. They lead 4-1, backed off 2 monster 2-run shots.
We have collected all of their shoes. Ribby is going to start chucking them and hiding them whenever he's ready. Their job is to run, find their shoes, and get them back on. The first one to do it wins. Are we ready? Ribby's going a little crazy out there. All right, 3, 2, 1, go! And they're off. Ribby's still chucking them. And we have our first winner. All right, good job, guys.
Did you see the guy in the black? Did you see the guy in the black? We should get posted in a shoe. We can get posted on the
Look, you take your time, ladies and gentlemen. SwampBats logo, folding camp here from Treasury Center. Located in Swansea, south of Keene. Family owned and operated for 75 years, covering
A new pitcher as we start the 3rd inning here at Alumni Field. Braxton Stewart will make his 3rd appearance of the year and his first appearance not against the Sanford Raiders, but he stays on a trend with the North Division through 2 appearances so far this year, a 3 ERA even through 3 innings played, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks, and 2 hits out of Louisville. Pretty highly touted as well. With his recruitment, chose Louisville over Miami, Wake Forest, South Carolina, East Carolina, and Florida State. So definitely a name that had a lot of interest. Chose the Cardinals, and now trying to keep Keene in this game before Vermont's offense could make this really ugly really quickly.
Yeah, that's good doing on the day for Ben Shanoski. 2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 4 runs, 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks. And when you come into this game and you see a guy that pitched at Wake Forest is going from there to the Big Ten as a highly rated pitcher, and you're able to chase him after 2 innings, that not only builds confidence in this game, but in your offense as a whole. This is a team in Vermont that, when you think about being the hottest offense in the NECBL, I don't know if they really need that much more confidence when they step up to the dish.
And it'll start out with the heart of the order with 4, 5, and 6. Brendan Norton, Max Jensen both retired via strikeout their last time up. But then you have the part of the order following them, 7, 8, 9, which was the hit by pitch, homer, and then a walk. So it's been a weird game for Vermont in that sense. 4 runs through 2 innings with 3 hits, but it's been the part of the order that you expect to hammer pitching that has not done so. They step up in this inning.
Yeah, and besides Max Jensen, we talked about Lucas Manning and Brandon Norton now only have 4 at-bats combined. This will be the 5th for them combined, and it's going to be tough for them because, you know, you come in already a week behind. You already, despite it only being about a week and a half, there's been a lot of teams have played 6 through 8 games in this season. you already feel like you're behind in this wood bat league when you have to come in late and you have to try and get acclimated to using a wood bat versus metal in college and trying to meet your new teammates, get up to the game speed in the NECBL. So it doesn't necessarily make too much. It's not necessarily that hard to see why they're maybe struggling a bit, but again, when they're in the heart of your lineup, you expect them to do the most damage, and so far they haven't.
Big fight back as Stewart fell back 2-0 quickly. Goes outside and low for 2 straight strikes, one looking, one swinging. Now it's a 2-2 count to Brennan Norton. He steps off and takes a quick second to rejuvenate, and for Keene, if you are on the mound with Stewart, just looking to get anything going and any confidence, and that'll do it. They check in, he went. An ugly swing on a low breaking ball, and Braxton Stewart starts his appearance out of the pen with a swing and strikeout in the books.
Yeah, Chuck Furlong over there at first said he went, and Brennan Norton not a fan of that call, but it is what it is, and 2 strikeouts for him, and a nice job out of the pen from Braxton Stewart. You always want to find a way to retire that first batter you face out of the pen. To do it via the way of the strikeout is pretty good.
First pitch drilled to Alisea, spinning grab on the forehand, and a strikeout on one pitch. The next is a ground out, and Braxton Stewart is cruising so far here in the third.
Again, you can't ask for much more. You want to keep the deficit as small as it is. You don't want it to get any bigger. Already down by 3 runs. He's doing a really good job. Again, this is the part of the lineup that's really struggled already. 3, 4, 5, and 6, no hits combined already. And Notarangelo looking to change that trend, being the 6-hole hitter.
Grounded out to first to start that second inning before 7 and 8. Hit by pitch and a home run made it the 4-1 lead that Vermont man's at the moment. Notarangelo 1-0 and now 2-0 as a fastball misses down low from Stewart.
Notarangelo playing at that powerhouse that is Endicott College in D3, a 345 average, 46 runs batted in, 13 stolen bases as well.
Watches that breaking ball find the zone. There's talent at all levels, and that's really exemplified, especially throughout Vermont's lineup. You have Notarangelo, and then on deck you have McGuire, who's a standout at Georgia Gwinnett, one of the top NAIA programs. As they say, he left off that one in the dirt for a 3-1. 3-1 count. Stewart trying to avoid losing him, but he will as he bounces that one to the plate. Notarangelo avoids going 0 for 2. He walks over, and now it's 7, 8, 9, the part of the order that got going in the second to give the big lead that Vermont has at the moment.
And now you have that lefty v lefty matchup too between Stewart and McGuire, and this is a guy that, you know, like we talked about, got hit by a pitch last inning and then was followed up by a home run from Bo Root. So Stewart knows that this is a tough part of the lineup to deal with as well. There's no easy outs in this Mountaineers lineup.
Notarangelo looks ready to go. He doesn't as the first pitch fastball's taken for a strike by Braxton McGuire. Hit by a pitch and came around to score. His last time up, he only saw 2 pitches before being struck on the right leg. As Stewart's going to look over to first, doesn't like the extended lead that Notarangelo has over there at the bag.
13 stolen bags for Notarangelo this past spring, so he has that capability. He hasn't stolen a bag yet this year for Vermont.
He looks like he wants to go. Just the question is, will he? And almost caught like a deer in headlights, but able to get back as Stewart checks 2 times in a row. No rule on checking over here in the NECBL, so technically could do it again right here if he really, really wanted to. Instead, he'll deliver the 0-1 and get in the zone for a big 0-2, and now heftily in front of McGuire. Trying to get out of this thing before it gets any worse. As 2 runs put up in each of the top of the first and second inning by the Vermont offense, as McGuire's going to call time at the plate. That's one thing I can notice already, especially with our spot here at Alumni Field being above the opposing dugout. Vermont is easily the loudest team that I've seen so far this year, and you gotta love it. The atmosphere in that Vermont dugout is just absolutely firing. Down low, snatch throw, Jones thought he took off. Did not go, thought Jones was gonna throw over to first and try to pair up with Calarco.
Yeah, you mentioned it. This is a Vermont team that likes to have a lot of fun. It helps when you go on a 5-game winning streak a week into your season, but there's so much energy, so much passion and camaraderie already on that team.
This one chopped over to right field. It's going to be easily into the green grass. Runner's going to round second, go to third, long throw in time. The tag just a little late allows McGuire to go to second, and a 2-out walk turns into second and third.
A nice piece of hitting from McGuire. Found the open spot on the right side of the infield, and then a great job by Notre Dame to get under the tag, and McGuire, seeing that throw was long, was able to take second as well. And we saw this for Keene back in the bottom half of the first. They runners on second and third with 2 outs as well. They were able to get a run out of it, but now a chance for Vermont to come out, and you're already going to see a pitch batter. That's going to be Cam Santier. Interesting decision after Bowroot hit the home run.
Could be something we don't know about going on. With a new hitter at the plate, slotting in the 8th spot, and have to imagine Santier is going to slot in to right field when this is all said and done. But for now, Cam Santier out of Stony Brook has a big opportunity off the bench to really propel this Vermont lead. It stands at 3, but 490 feet away, and the 5th standing 180 feet away. He's down 0-1. Stewart trying to fight back. That one way upstairs. Jones pops up, and it's a 1-1 count as that fastball just slips away.
Potentially for Mitch Holmes trying to play the positional advantage. Instead of the lefty v lefty matchup, you have a lefty v righty, and Santier and Root do always tend to play in the outfield. So already some strategy going on for Mitch Holmes early in this game.
It's a 1-2 count, and it's fouled off on the 1-1. And you don't really blame him. You have the opportunity to gut punch Keene and add potentially 2, maybe even 3 more runs here and make it 3 consecutive innings where a lopsided number is put up essentially. Stewart trying to avoid that. He's got runners at second and third with 2 away. Got him on the fastball on the inside. Braxton Stewart puts up the first 0 for the SwampBat pitching staff as they try to fight back, down 4-1, but the Bats got to get going in order to do so.
It's time for our annual tire.
In the Eisenberg School of Management, we really value experiential learning. By the end of their time here, the students have a portfolio that they can go out with and say, here's what I've done. Here's the clients that I've already worked for.
Our alumni are in constant engagement with our program, providing career guidance, insights, so all of our students are able to take advantage of an unparalleled alumni network before and after they graduate.
Your involvement with the school doesn't end when you graduate. We have a lot of UMass Amherst alums at Gillette Stadium. We know the type of employee we're going to get when we hire someone who's graduated from this program.
The Bats are electrified here, and we've only played 2.5 innings of action. And it's William John back on the mound, and what is a bat without the batting gloves? The choice of Major League All-Stars is now the official batting gloves of the New England League. Bruce Bolt. Bruce Bolt batting gloves are handmade by skilled craftsmen using 100% real Coretta leather. The stitching, materials, and unique design make these best-fitting, most durable batting gloves in baseball. For more information, visit brucebolt.us. That's brucebolt.us. As Alex Alicea in his Bruce Bolt batting gloves fouls off the first pitch and will live to see another as it tails just out of play.
And now, if you're Keene, you saw Stewart come out of the bullpen and get you a scoreless inning. Got into a little bit of a jam, but the Bats have got to come alive. You kind of talked about it. It's been a tough go. They do have the highest on-base percentage and slugging percentage in the NECBL. They have to put it to good use. You don't want to go further and further into this game still struggling to put up runs.
Alicea way in front of that one. 79 out of the hand of John, and Keene just struggling to track anything. This is their second time around now at the top of the order. So see if adjustments were made as Aliseo watches that one down low for a 1-2 count.
The second time in the order is normally when you really see those, one-on-one battles start to take place between pitchers and hitters, because you've already gone through the order once, like you said. Now it's a matter of who is going to be able to capitalize more.
Fastball blown by, and Aliseo watches it drop on the outside part of the zone and goes down looking for a quick first out here in the bottom of the third inning. And it just seems like Vermont just keeps on rolling.
They really have been, and no one's been rolling better than William John out there on the mound. His longest appearance this spring was 3 innings. He had 5 strikeouts against Columbia on April 27th. He's already got 3 through 2 1/3 so far.
But he's going to label Jakonski on the back, so Keene at least gets a base runner here in the third inning. And sometimes all you need to see is someone on to get something started. And it's Bryce Molinaro, his Penn State teammate behind in the heart of the order, trying to crack this deficit open.
Well, it was a walk to Molinaro that eventually came around to score where John was out there. And again, you have a chance with 2 of the hottest bats, the 2 hottest bats on Keene, and 2 of the hottest bats in the NECBL to really have a chance to get things going. Again, a blast here would cut it down to 1. But at this rate, you don't necessarily need a home run. You can just have a base hit or a walk. Any way to keep this inning going, there's still just 1 out. But you want to get up to your heart of the order, the chance to really do some damage.
Really wondering what the word going on here with the home plate umpire Brian Roth and Sean McKenna. It's not a pinch hitter as Molinaro's at the plate. Looks like he's complaining about the Vermont dugout, which has been nothing short of really electric so far. I mean, we can hear it up here in the booth, not holding back at all and making sure they are getting in the mental part of the game going well. First pitch to Molinaro, found for a strike.
I mean, you can't blame them. You're playing summer ball in one of the most beautiful parts of the upper New England area. You gotta have some fun with it too. But sometimes there's a little too much, and I think that's maybe what is being said so far.
This one bounces to the plate. Good block by Manning as he keeps in front, and it hits Molinaro off the bounce, so it blows it dead and doesn't allow Jakonski to get going. As Molinaro walked back in the first and came around to score the only run of the game for the SwampBats. He puts this one on a line in the right center field, over the jumping glove of McGuire, all the way to the wall. Gonna go around second, Jakonski. He takes a look, the throw-in's not in time. A double by Molinaro, and second and third. Keene has a little bit of life trying to claw back in this one.
That's what you need from your 2 best bats, to do something like that. Again, McGuire, if he was just a few inches taller, may have gone that play. He's so athletic out there at second, but he's just so tiny it's going to be tough. And that was a absolute rope from Molinaro. We saw it. He's been doing it all year long for Penn State. Does it for Keene. And now just 1 out. And a guy who's already hit a couple home runs this year has a chance to tie things up.
It's Ripken Reese, the DH. Was stranded on third base his last time up, and a mound visit going to come up for Vermont to talk to William John. I'd have to assume he stays, as going to the bullpen would be an interesting call here with how easily John handled the first 2 innings. And one may say, hey, they want to play the matchups, but Ripken Reese is a switch hitter. There's really no playing matchups with switch hitter Reese and then switch hitter Calarco, both at the plate and on deck.
I think it is just probably going to be a meeting to try and calm the nerves. It's just Steve Boley out there as pitching coach, not the entire infield. But we talked about it a few innings ago that this is going to be a bullpen day for Vermont. Not a lot of starting pitchers active. William John, normally not a starting pitcher for this Vermont team, is doing a really good job so far. And again, like you mentioned, you can't really play the matchups when you have 2 switch hitters coming up as for Keene. You just have to try and get them out of the inning. And he was able to get Calarco and Wiggins, but this is the guy, Ripken Reese, who did have that nice single back in the first. So already 1 for 1. We'll see who comes in on top in this early great matchup.
He sends that one high to right center field on a cue. This game's tied. Ripken Reese, an absolute missile, and the Keene crowd is electrified. The first pitch of a mound visit goes 95 off the bat and 360 for the Kent State switch hitter. This ball game is tied at 4.
What we talked about, he has that power. Already 2 home runs on the summer, 6 for the Golden Flashes. And that was a no-doubter off the bat of rip and reach. You could hear it, you could see it keep traveling. What a job, and just like that, you get the blank inning from your arm out of the pen, and now all of a sudden this game is tied, and it's right back where we started.
And it brings up Alex Calarco to the plate. He watches the first pitch on the back foot breaking ball. Missed for ball number 1, and this is a Keene dugout that looked dead and now electrified. And a Vermont dugout that was loud, and they're going to be quieter than ever. Calarco out of here to the parking lot. Back-to-back bombs for the SwampBats. Make it a 5-4 game. They put up 4 and counting in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Back-to-back no-doubters, too. And that's what we talked about. When you come out of when you go through the lineup one time, that second time is where you start to see who's going to really come out on top. And so far, it's been these SwampBat batters who have come out and lit up William John, and that's going to do it the second mound visit. His day is done.
You talk about Alumni Field and Little League home runs. That one 98 off the bat and goes 375 and threatens with a windshield. We get a pitching change. The first call to the bullpen during action. 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. But the SwampBat offense has woken up and quieted this Vermont dugout that was essentially electrified.
375 feet. Mobile chiropractic is backing with the SwampBats to help our team reach their peak performance on the field. For safe, specific adjustments, Dr. Lizard is helping the team recover faster, play harder, and enhance their overall performance. If you'd like to learn more about chiropractic care,
The bullpen gets the call in the middle of an explosive inning. For the SwampBat offense, it's number 48, Aiden Crump out of Notre Dame, the righty, trying to limit the bleeding. Keene comes into the inning down 4-1, essentially looking like they have nothing in the tank to start, propelled by back-to-back home runs from Reese and Calarco. And now Crump is tasked with limiting the damage.
And for Crump, you can't ask for a better job or a better situation out of the bullpen. Bases are empty. It's essentially like you've got nothing to work. You don't have to work yourself out of a jam that was left for you. And for John, he was a guy who started this inning off with a backwards K, and then a hit by pitch, a double, and back-to-back home runs. Everything changed the complexion of this game. It's still a very hot Vermont offense, but we kind of hinted at it when we were talking before this game started that this was a game that had a chance to have a lot of runs. We've already seen 9 through 2 1/3, or technically, we have seen 9 through not even 3 full innings in this game. And this is going to be it's already a bullpen day for Vermont. And these are some bullpen arms that didn't necessarily have a whole lot of rest. Krupp did. He hasn't pitched since June 8th against Valley, where he went an inning and gave up 2 runs with a strikeout and a walk.
They say offense is contagious. A double and back-to-back home runs, and Andrew Wiggins was trying to build off it, sends the first pitch foul. This is a bat that does not have a hit on the young summer. Still playing in not even a full handful of games. But boy, if he could build off the momentum that Molinaro, Reese, and Calarco built, but he's down 0-2 as he watches that one find the zone at 83.
Krupp doing what we saw John do similarly to start this game, attacking the hitters early and then started to find himself lose it a little bit in that 3rd inning.
Wiggins got a short in the swing, 0-2 outside, watched it go into the right-hand batter's box and lives to see another pitch. So good defensively in the outfield. The bat can wake up and be what everyone knows, but friendly fire. The bat nearly hits John Nowak back with the SwampBats dugout, excuse me, but it's going to be a swinging strikeout for Andrew Wiggins.
Swinging in more ways than one, the bat coming right out of his hands. The Bruce Bogatin gloves didn't help him keep his grip on that one. But again, Aiden Krupp coming out of the pen, doing what he needs to do, just get through this inning, get the bats back up with a chance to either tie the game or retake the lead.
And thank you to Netting Professionals, the official netting partner of the New England League, for stopping that bat before it got to any more danger. As the first pitch turned to third base, taken by Norton Cross Diamond, throws a little bit high, but Jensen, underrated defense at first, with a beautiful snag to retire Brett House. Krupp, a beautiful job to go back-to-back and get out of the jam, but 4 runs, 2 bombs, and a double for Keene, flips it to a 5-4 lead.
Keene SwampBats are proud to have Fairfield Marriott Keene downtown, West Western Plus, and Hampton Inn Suites as our official sponsors of Parents Weekend. Give them a call and ask for the SwampBats rate when you make your next reservation. At Fairfield, we're celebrating 119 years of putting our customers first. Come visit our Cadillac, Buick, GMC, Kia, and Mitsubishi sales unit showroom on Winchester Street. Or bring any make or model to our state-of-the-art service department. We always have been and will continue to be a local family-owned dealership since 1904. With more than 1,400 sales locations across the state, don't forget to stop and buy your lucky lottery tickets today. Powerball, Mega Millions, Tri-State Megabucks, scratch tickets, and more.
We welcome you back inside Alumni Field as the Keene SwampBats exploded 2 home runs back-to-back in the bottom half of the third to retake a 5-4 lead. And we kind of talked about it before we went to break, but a nice job by netting professionals, like you mentioned, saving potentially a life, and that's why they're the official netting partner of the New England League. Their netting and wall padding products have been featured in Major League Baseball venues such as Citi Field and Truist Park and many collegiate facilities throughout the country, including the universities of Florida, North Carolina, Binghamton, Texas, and many more. From design to fabrication to installation, Netting Pros is improving programs one facility at a time. Still Braxton Stewart out there on the mound, and the 9-hole hitter Casey Bishop will try and get the run back after giving up 4 in the bottom half of the third. We talked about it extensively. These are 2 of the best teams when it comes to hitting the ball, and they've really come and hit this ball today.
Man, you looked at me when you walked in here, Josh, and said this really might be a 12-10 game, and I said, no, let's look at the pitching staffs. They've been pretty solid, but we're at 5-4 after 3 innings of play, and your guess is getting a little bit closer to fruition, but we'll see if the pitching staffs continue to struggle or if they kind of find their grooves here.
It's been almost a home run derby today at Alumni Field. 4 home runs through 3 innings, 2 each side. Casey Bishop takes a first pitch ball from Braxton Stewart. That one catches the inside black, strike 1.
Yeah, and I mean, for Vermont's sake, they've kind of evened it out. They have 1 in each of the first 2 innings.
Big cut from Casey Bishop. No dice. It's a 1-2 count and ahead. And again, Braxton Stewart coming out of the pen, doing what he needs to do. Casey Bishop lunges for that one, goes on the ground to shortstop. That'll be quickly thrown over Romano to Calarco, excuse me, for out number 1. And a good start to this top half of the 4th for Braxton Stewart.
Yeah, he started out really strong in that third, if you remember this. First strikeout and then a ground out to second on the very next pitch. And then it was that 2-out walk and then the single by McGuire that kind of got him in a little bit of a hiccup. He was able to recover, so see if he can just ease through.
Josiah Ragsdale, he's got a hit continuing in every single game he's played for Vermont. Led things off with a second pitch single, nearly hit one out of the park in the second, flew out to right. And that one's hit sharply on the line. A diving play from Romano. The throw across the diamond. Not in time. Ragsdale beat it by a step. That was almost a highlight reel play from Romano in the shortstop spot.
Yeah, and you see Sean McKenna, he hopped out of his seat the minute that it was signaled safe from first plate umpire. I mean, that's just so close right there. And credit Calarco on the stretch and even credit Romano. What a play. Just bang, bang, and Now if you're Stewart, you've induced 2 ground balls, just work for another one and hope your defense can turn that double play to get you out and get those hot bats right back out.
Ragsdale was hustling down the line. We mentioned earlier 22 stolen bases for Iona this past year. Sam Angelo, he got the party started with a 2-run shot in the top of the first, takes the first pitch off the plate for ball 1. Angelo going to UNC next year. That pitch to strike UNC, who walked off their game earlier today in the Men's College World Series against Virginia. Vance Honeycutt Jr., a future top 10 pick in the MLB draft, doing it again. It's a 1-1 count to Sam Angelo. Ragsdale shuffling his way over at first. Now the throw back, he'll get in safely.
I mean, I think that's more of a just I see you type check. I mean, Stewart didn't really look like he had any sort of intent of actually getting him. Didn't think he had any chance. He just kind of wanted to let Ragsdale know, like, hey, I'm not forgetting about you over there.
Ragsdale still dancing off the bat. The throw from Stewart, and Angelo lines that one into right field. Back-to-back singles, and Ragsdale's going to stop his tracks at second. And 2 runners aboard with 1 gone. A chance for Lucas Manning to get his first hit as a Vermont Mountaineer.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good one back in the 2nd inning. Hammered it to center field and just was the hardest hit ball that Vermont's had despite having 2 home runs before it. At 97 off the bat, just Andrew Wiggins in the perfect spot at the warning track, barely had to move. Just watched that line drive find his glove. So right now, if you're Manning, you recovered from that strikeout well, you caught a barrel. Now it's time to straighten it out, and it would be a big spot to answer the 4 put up by the SwampBat offense.
Stewart checks on Ragsdale at second, now gets set for the 0-0 pitch. And that one skied into right foul territory, into the bleachers for strike 1.
Yeah, and you saw Manning turn around there and kind of just breathe a sigh of relief the minute he saw that it was tailing too far for Alex Calarco, because for a minute there, Manning thought he was going to go down on 1 pitch on a pop-up in foul territory, and that would not be how you want to go down, especially with runners on 1st and 2nd and only 1 away.
The next batter would be Brennan Norton, who is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts today. Stewart will step off the mound, just haphazardly throw it back to second, and they get the ball right back. Potentially just not liking the signs he saw from his catcher, J.D. Jones.
Yeah, Keene's been a team that hasn't been able to command the opposing team's run game so far this year a lot, so would not be shocked to see a double steal attempt at least eventually. Maybe not in this exact moment.
Stewart's 0-1 pitch. It's called strike 2. That one another great pitch from Stewart, and quickly ahead to Lucas Manning, 0-2. Stewart looking for a big punch out. Now the throw down to second, not in time. Ragsdale got back safely.
Yeah, and you saw Alisea right there. He kind of had to jump up over to his right. It was a bit of a wild one from Stewart, and that's something you got to be careful about. We talked about it with, on the other side, William John giving Keene that 1 run in the bottom of the first, a wild pitch. You don't want to give any extra bags that they don't have to work for.
The 0-2 pitch from Stewart. Manning lines that one into left center field. That's going to get down. Ragsdale rounding third. He'll score with ease. And the first hit of the Vermont career for Lucas Manning comes in the form of an RBI single, and he's knotted things up at 5 here in the 4th.
Yeah, we're getting that offensive shootout that, you know, we kind of predicted before this game started. The highest scoring offense in the NECBL, and then the hardest hitting offense in the NECBL, leads the league in slugging and led it in OPS up until yesterday before a tough game at Bristol. Still got the win, but a tough game hitting the ball at least. So we kind of knew what we were going to get, and maybe interesting, there's no arm up and moving. Actually, now there is. Just started going. Looks like that's Stephen Bangs. This is just going to be precautionary from John Nowak. How you'll know it's bullpen time is when Sean McKenna comes out.
So you mentioned it, 10 runs through 3 1/3 in this game. We've seen it a lot. The Vermont Mountaineers, they were shut out 2-0 in their home opener against Sanford, have since then flourished at the plate. 54 runs in that span in 6 games, averaging about 8 per game, actually averaging more than that, about 9. And this is a team that's been doing such a good job so far this year in terms of hitting the ball. And you talked about it before, how even, no run, no lead is safe in this game. And it already feels like that you're going to have to go up by about 5 or 6 before it really feels like it's going to be comfortable.
Yeah, and, I mean, this is going to be one of those games that you're not going to be comfortable in the 9th inning up by 7. You want a lead that's so big that it would take an absolute miracle to lose it.
Brandon Noren takes the first pitch high, 1-0. That one coming out of the hands of Stewart at 91 miles an hour. Angelo standing on second. He represents the go-ahead run. Lucas Manning on first.
You're still just a ground ball away.
Quickly ahead is Norton, 2-0. Still looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 2 today. Pinch hit in the 9th inning, and the loss against Mystic did not get on base. 2-0 pitch from Stewart. Norton tried to line it up, fouls it back, 2-1.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Braxton Stewart, this is what you got to think. Obviously, back-to-back hard-hit singles from Angelo and Manning that have found their way to the outfield. But you started out with a ground out to Bishop, and then Ragsdale was a grounder. It was just a hard-hit one, but able to leg it out. So you just got to induce another one of those ground balls and trust your defense to turn 2 and get you out of this inning with only 1.
That pitch high, 3-1, a chance for Norton with the green light to get his first hit as a Vermont Mountaineer.
It's a close one. That's a really good pitch from Stewart. You love the spot, just up and away from a righty hitter, but this has to be your best pitch. You cannot give a walk here and get the bases loaded.
It's a hitter's count to Norton. The 3-1 pitch from Stewart. Norton hits that one up the middle, and it's going to get down. It gets away from the center fielder, Wiggins. That's going to allow for Angelo to score, and now hustling around, trying to score as many. The throw from short. Not in time, it gets away, but a nice job by Stewart backing up J.D. Jones. And it'll go down as a double for Brennan Norton. The misplay by Wiggins out in center allows for an extra run to come across. It's 7-5.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a hard hit ball, and for Wiggins to even have a chance to get to it, I think he wanted to make a dive and then realized it was going to drop in front of him, and just a really tough play. It took a weird hop off the grass, and it's a tough read for an outfielder, but just like that, I mean, Keene takes the lead, and then how do you answer 4 runs put up? You put up 3 of your own, and yeah, that's going to be it for Braxton Stewart.
That'll be the 5th different pitcher we've seen from these 2 teams combined. That's going to do it for Braxton Stewart. After 3 runs that come across, I think it's a 7-5 lead. We're going to take a break. We'll tell you all about the new SwampBat pitcher when we come back right here on ESPN+.
372-711. Specialty. 372-711.
Josh Bartosik, Sean Massey here at Alumni Field. And Stephen Bangs taking over on the mound for Braxton Stewart. The right-handed slinger from Franklin Pierce looking to keep the deficit at just 2.
Yeah, and this is a guy who his first appearance he started, and he wasn't necessarily great on the road at Mystic. It was a 12-5 win for Keene. It was a comeback win that started out with the first 3 innings from Bangs. He allowed 4 runs on 5 hits and walked 4. So he's a little wild, and opponents hit him in that first game. 385 average and a 529 opposing on-base percentage. Right now, if you're Bangs, you're just trying to do exactly what on the other side Aiden Krupp did. Stop the bleeding and just get out of it before anything gets too bad. And right now, you're only down by 2. But you really want to focus on not letting that runner from second score, because 7-5 is just, in this game, might not make a big difference, but astronomically different than 8-5.
You mentioned it before we went to break, how you probably won't feel comfortable going into the 9th inning unless you're up by 7 with the way this game has gone. Just 1 scoreless inning from these 2 teams on each side. Top half of the 3rd was scoreless, and the bottom half of the 2nd was scoreless for Keene. Top half of the third being for Vermont. It's Max Jensen who takes the first pitch strike. Jensen 0 for 2 today, struck out in the first and grounded out. Valencia back in the third. That pitch high for a ball, 1-1. Jensen first team all Ivy League. Finished the year second in RBIs for the Big Red with 37. He's also named second team all Ivy as a freshman, where he led Cornell in average runs, RBIs, doubles, and total bases. That pitch below the knees for ball 2.
Yeah, you don't want to let this get away from you. You do have the bag open at first to kind of open up the double play option, but if you're Bangs, you don't want to give this Vermont dugout and Vermont team any reason to get going again. I mean, they were quiet no more than 5 minutes ago, and now they're electrified all over again.
Jensen, that one popped into left field. Coming on and making the play is Joe Jakonski. That one off the end of the bat, and it's a nice job out there on the mound from Stephen Bangs to get a crucial second out. And now just one pitch away or one out away from stranding Norton at second.
That's a big one because, I mean, multiple reasons, but now you got Notarangelo, who ground an easy ground out over to first in his first plate appearance. He did walk back in the third inning. This is going to be a game where offenses might get 7 plate appearances apiece because you're already through the 4th time, threatening with 5, and we're not even done with the 4th inning of action yet on the offensive side for Vermont.
Notarangelo, fan favorite back in Montpelier. He played with this team in 2022. Drove in 7 runs, hit 260. Was first team all CCC this year at Endicott. Hitting up 400 so far this year for the Mountaineers with 4 runs batted in. His 5th RBI standing 180 feet away in the form of Brendan Norton, though. 1-0 pitch, fouled back by Notarangelo.
Good job going outside on that one. I like getting them off balance here if you're Bangs. Opened up a lot of opportunities with the righty-lefty. And we know he loves to go down low, so would not mind if, try to put a breaking ball that tails in the zone. He kind of crosses up the hitter.
1-1 pitch at the letters for strike 2.
It's a beautiful fastball, and he's just going to watch it go down. It's only 87. He's going to watch it in the zone. And it gives you basically a free strike. That's big time if you're Bangs. And hefty pitchers, you have a lot to do and a lot of options here.
Stephen Bangs, that pitch lunging for it was Notarangelo, gets a piece, stays alive, 1-2.
Yeah, there's the down low, way outside. And that one had him leaning over the plate. He's so off balance now. The eye level's been changed. Leaning over the plate twice now on 2 foul offs. This is where you jam him and kind of get his hands way outside of a pitch and make him feel uncomfortable.
The next one, too, that one upstairs, ball 2, came out of the glove momentarily from Jones, but Norton won't try and test him down at third. Count even at 2 apiece, 2 gone in the top half of the 4th. 3 runs already across what's been a slugfest. Bangs' pitch is outside for ball 3, and now it's a full count.
I'm shocked we haven't seen him try to jam him. I mean, he's been outside so much. You'd think the hands would be off the mark from Notarangelo, but now you're threatening with losing him. This cannot be a walk. If it is, it's going to be so heartbreaking.
Payoff pitch. Notarangelo fouls that one out of play. Bangs trying to beat him with the high cheese, couldn't do so. We'll redo the payoff.
Yeah, that pitch kind of tailed on the inside and just got in, and good follow off by Notarangelo because you haven't got a pitch you really love this AB, so you like the idea to just fight it away. See if Bangs is going to gift you a free pass over to first.
The next 3-2, downstairs for ball 4. A nice job by Notarangelo working the walk. Now the 7th batter of this inning will come up. It's Braxton McGuire. He's 1 for 1. He singled in the 3rd and got hit by a pitch back in the 2nd.
Yeah, and he hit that single very hard his last time up, and he scored 1 run already. Was stranded at second last inning, but see what he can do here. It's a big spot.
First pitch high, ball 1. And we've talked about McGuire mostly today defensively. So athletic, so nimble and quick at the second base position that if he was a few inches taller, he probably would have already had 2 highlight reel plays today.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely he's got a great sense to it as well. I mean, he read both of those plays on defense. Great off the bat, they talk about right there not being necessarily enough to get to it on line drives, and at the plate, he's also looked really good, and see if he can time it up because he was just a little off on that fastball.
1-1 pitch. Gets in there for strike 2. And now bangs again, just one pitch away from the end of the inning, but that's where Notarangelo worked that walk. One-two pitch, McGuire gets a hold of it, but it goes foul. McGuire so stingy at the plate, was held hitless just 11 times this year for the Grizzlies this past spring. He went 6 for 6 against Florida National on May 4th. Another 1-2. That pitch hit into right field. It'll be a single. Hustling and trying to score from third is Norton, and he will do so sliding in. And the 4th run of the inning comes across. It's 8-5. And now Braxton McGuire has his first RBI as a Mountaineer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slugfest right now, and Vermont is taking full advantage of Keene's pitching staff, just giving them baseballs to strike. I mean, that pitch was middle height and almost middle in a sense, and it's a guy who's seen the ball so well that you expect nothing less than that ball to be hit very hard.
Now Mitch Holmes have a conversation with his base runners and his batter, and this is where things got a little interesting in the game against Mystic. Mitch Holmes took 2 offensive timeouts in the same inning, and it was something that Phil Orby, the head coach of the Schooners, was not a fan of, was trying to argue and plead his case that he can't take more than 1. And it led to a 45-minute delay trying to figure out what was going on. I think he's probably not going to try and test his luck today. You look at those beautiful pink caps out there for the SwampBats, and who provides those caps? Zephyr, the official on-field cap of the NECBL, also known as the Z-Hats. Zephyr's the authentic college hat with over 800 colleges and channels that same energy and creativity into building custom hats of all types for pro sports teams, clothing brands, and companies everywhere. Make sure you pick up your Keene SwampBats and Vermont Mountaineers official on-field cap today. Cam Santier, who replaced Bo Root back in the second, he struck out looking. He's just swinging the first pitch. He's on the ground. Romano over to first in time, but not before 4 runs come across. The Mountaineers mirror what the SwampBats did in the bottom half of the 3rd, and they retake their 3-run lead as we head to the bottom half of the 4th right here on ESPN+.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me and my dreams, like NBT. And let's face it, life can get challenging. I need a bank that's focused on me. They've been rated tops in all the things that matter, like trust, customer service, and financial advice. So when I need a bank I can trust, it's always NBT and me.
Rondé Barber here. Being in the NFL for 16 years, I've dealt with my fair share of bumps and bruises. But typical ice packs never stayed cold long enough, were messy, and inconvenient. HurtSkirt offers the same long-lasting treatment as ice does, but without the hassle. HurtSkirt uses no antifreeze chemicals, ensuring that panels freeze solid and stay colder for longer. Drop the ice, skirt the hurt. Use code BARBER20 for 20% off and free shipping at hurtskirt.com.
Aiden Krupp back on the mound, looking to, like he did when he came out of the pen, taking over for William John, keep the SwampBats scoreless and keep that 3-run lead into the 5th.
Yeah, he was really good out of the pen in his first time. He goes back to back with Wiggins and then House grounding out the 3rd. And if you can really just put together a few quality innings, this game with how your offense is moving could get out of hand, for the lack of better words, really quickly. So we'll have to see what goes on here with Krupp. This is a big spot.
We'll have to face J.D. Jones, who singled back in the 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who finally got one to drop, and his swing is pretty smooth out of that right side, so.
A 1 pitch incoming to J.D. Jones. And he gets a hold of that one out to center field, tracking it and calling it off and making the play is Ragsdale in center. Looks like it could have been a loud start to the inning for the SwampBats. Instead, it's a loud first out for J.D. Jones.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate one right there for Jones. He was just under it. I mean, he had the timing all right, and it's a good first out, though. If you're Aiden Krupp on the mound, I mean, he's been dealing through 3 batters.
Krupp, one of 2 Fighting Irish on this Mountaineers team alongside DM Jefferson, as he jams Nick Romano, who made 2 putouts in that big 4th inning to stop the bleeding for Keene. Krupp did not pitch for Notre Dame this past year, but looking to get some reps in this summer. His 0-1 pitch catches the plate, strike 2.
Yeah, if you're Romano, I mean, your last at-bat wasn't great in a ground out. You're just really looking to just put a barrel and shorten your swing. You really have to be careful here in 0-2.
Gets a piece of that one, does Romano, stays alive in 0-2 count. And again, Aiden Krupp getting ahead of these batters. Didn't necessarily get ahead of J.D. Jones, who lined out on the second pitch. But getting ahead, doing what William John did early, and really putting these SwampBat hitters in a bind.
Yeah, for Keene, it's tough when they see pitchers for the first time. They're not necessarily great, so.
It's just a bit high for ball 1. Good job holding back by Romano.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can just work Krupp's pitch count and just get quality at bats. That's the name of the game, is get quality ABs and make Krupp beat you. You can't just gift them with ugly swings.
That pitch bounces in on its way to the dirt, and now count has been worked back to even 2-2.
This is what we're talking about, quality. Make them beat you. If you would have gifted them any of those last 2 pitchers that weren't even remotely close to the zone, that's just even more confidence, and you don't want to give him any more than what he already's built.
2-2 pitch. Also called a ball, and now he's really worked that count back. Down 0-2. It's now a 3-2 count, and a chance for Romano, the bottom half of this lineup, to roll things over with a runner aboard.
This has been a great AB so far for falling down 0-2. I mean,
that pitch is fair down the line. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. It should be extra bases for Romano. He rounds first, gets in the second standing. And how about the 9-hole hitter getting a 2-bagger and getting the party started to try and cut back into that lead?
That's a big one for Romano. I mean, that's what he does. It's what he did at Georgia Tech, and it's been a while since he's seen pitching. Having to sit out last year, and the swing is there. You watch him in BP. You watch him at the plate even. His swing is gorgeous as a switch hitter. He just hasn't been able to get one to drop, and that one just gets a barrel on a baseball, got it to drop, and what an AB fighting back from 0-2. And I mean, a thing of beauty right there. If you're on second base and you're Romano, you can really feel good and start to build some momentum.
Was 0 for 13 coming into today. Now 1 for 15 is Nick Romano. As Mitch Holmes will go on and talk to Aiden Krupp. We've mentioned it multiple times. Bullpen day today for the Mountaineers. It's just Mitch Holmes. Don't think we're going to see a signal to the bullpen just yet.
Yeah, when you have a bullpen day, you kind of think to yourself as, you know, a manager or a fan looking at it, you go, hey, our guys aren't going to pitch more than 2 innings, and you really don't want to see, when you have a guy on the bullpen, you don't want them to see the lineup more than once, and that was where Vermont kind of ran into that road bump, is when they let Keene see William John more than one time, is when they started to time him up. And something you want to be careful about with Krupp, I mean, you still have load the time till that, as the first hitter he faced was the 6-hole hitter, and you're at the top of the order. But you want to make sure you don't make that mistake again. So if I'm the Vermont coaching staff, I'm getting someone ready to go, just, you know, at least getting loose down there before, you know, stuff gets out of hand potentially.
That is where that big 4-run inning came into play, was when it was William John's second time through the order. It's a dangerous Keene team that if you can't beat them once, or if you beat them once, it's very unlikely for you to beat them again. 1-0 count to leadoff man Alisea.
He's better on the left side too, so he just struck out his last time up, or he struck out once and grounded out both from the right side against John, so you'll have to see him get one to drop, potentially on the right field line like Romano just did.
Another pitch in the dirt. He's hitting .286 so far this year, 4 runs batted in and 4 stolen bases, as well as a chance for RBI number 5, standing 180 feet away after Nick Romano got his first hit of the year in a double.
Yeah, he's proved himself to be a crucial part of this team early. I mean, he had a really good year at Louisville and has just impressed here in the summer so far.
That pitch off the plate, ball 3, and quickly ahead now is Alisea, 3-0.
Yeah, you can see Krupp, he really is trying to get these last 2 hitters with Romano and Alisea to get off balance and go across the plate, but kudos to them for not biting at anything and kind of just sitting there waiting for something to go their way.
That pitch in the dirt is a 4-pitch walk issued by Aiden Krupp. And now we've already seen 4 home runs today. And Joe Jakonski, the hottest bat in the NECBL, has a chance to make it 5 and tie things right back up at 8.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a little cold in the last couple of games. He only has 1 hit in the last 2 games. It was a monster triple in the 9th yesterday. He's 0 for 1 today, but sometimes all it takes is a hitter to get back in your groove is you quote-unquote see one drop. He didn't see a ball drop, but he saw something hit him. He got on base. He came across home plate, and that can kind of just lift the weight off your shoulders. So I like to see him here swing freely and just swing confidently like we know he can.
It's the second meeting of the inning for Mitch Holmes, and that will do it for Aiden Krupp's day. It will be a new arm coming out to face Joe Jakonski when we come back on the NECBL Network and ESPN+. Josh Bartosik alongside Sean Massett. It's Brandon Adams, the new arm out there on the mound for the Vermont Mountaineers, looking to get out of the jam that was left by Aiden Krupp, facing the hottest bat in the NECBL, Joe Jakonski. Adams, a product from North Florida, a 5.40 ERA in 12 appearances, 19 strikeouts in 11 2/3, just 5 walks. Did pitch against Sanford this past weekend, went an inning and 2/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 strikeout and a walk, and picked up the win. Needs to find a way to get out of this jam. A ground ball would end it. We've talked a lot about ground ball plays and double play inducing ground balls. Haven't seen any so far with runners on first.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big spot. You're coming out of the pen. It's a big jam, and Joe Jakonski at the plate. He does represent the tying run in this game, and with how this game's been going, it's going to be really a matter of who gets out of those jams. The jams are going to happen with offenses like this, and obviously sound like a broken record with that because what we've seen so far with that, only 2 zeros put up by both these pitching staffs. And ironically, they were back-to-back on the bottom of the second, top of the third, but that's going to be the big thing. Who's going to get out of the jams, and that's going to be the difference in this game because both these offenses are going to get their opportunities, going to get their looks. It's just who fails to capitalize first and more will ultimately result in this either being a win or a loss on both sides.
Could be the biggest at-bat in this game. Joe Jakonski, the Penn State product, going against Brendan Adams from North Florida. His first pitch high. Jakonski, like we mentioned, a 400 average so far, 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, a triple, a .613 on-base percentage. Did get hit by a pitch back in the third.
His swing is so smooth. He's take off at any time.
Adams will fake a throw down to second and recollect himself.
I was saying it yesterday with Jakonski. He was 0 for 4 going to the 9th inning. He comes up with a runner on first and sends a triple off the wall that went about 360, maybe 370. Would have been gone if it was here at Alumni, but
Jakonski fouls that pitch off 1-1.
Yeah, he golf swinged at that one, and that's one that he probably saw in the hand and said, I can send this thing over that barn in right field that he loves and has sent already 2 over here at Alumni. So that was one of those kind of swings right there. If you're Jakonski, your mind just has to be get something to go your way. It doesn't need to be monstrous, just needs to find grass, keep this inning going.
1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Adams blew the fastball right by him at 89 miles an hour, or 90 I should say rather. Now he needs 1 more strike and a big at-bat, but then has to face Bryce Molinaro as well, who's 1 for 1 today. He doubled in the third.
Yeah, Jakonski took a big hack at that one, and you have to shorten your swing here. This is situational. You have to know the situation you're in and know what you have to do.
1-2 pitch. That one hit high and deep, out to center. Tracking back is Ragsdale at the wall. It's gone! Joe Jakonski ties it up. It's the 5th home run of the game, and we're knotted at 8. The slugfest continues.
My goodness, I mean, he knew what he had to do, and Jakonski does what he does. 86 off the bat, 331 nearly to dead center field, and that's why he is who he is. And Penn State is watching this guy. He was great this year at school, and they're watching him right now saying, wow, this next year is going to be a lot of fun with everyone we have coming in, everyone we have returning to our team that made a Cinderella run, and Joe Jakonski's building off of that momentum from the Cinderella run, and he's been a huge piece for this team.
Spent 2 years at UNC, went over to Penn State, really flourished there, and is flourishing so far.
I mean, yeah, off the bat, that's a high and outside fastball. It's not a pitch that's supposed to go anywhere, but that one didn't even land. It goes in the trees, and that's one, if you're Adams, you just got to think to yourself, wow.
Molinaro swings at the first pitch he faces on the ground. Bishop to first to Jensen for out number 2. They good job getting the other hot Penn State bat out. But again, a tie game. We talked about it. I think the 12-10 score at this rate might actually be low.
I mean, this is absurd. This game is gonna go forever with these two offenses. And I said it to you while we were talking and Adams was warming up. It's gonna be who gets out of the jams. Jams are gonna happen when you have bats like this on both of these sides that have the ability just to kind of tee off, and that's what they've done so far. And so far, neither of these teams have been able to get out of jams.
Big swing from Ripken Reese.
I don't blame him. He has a bomb already. He had a monster single in the first inning. I bet you the word from Casey O'Brien before he went up there was, hey, you're Ripken Reese. Go up there and swing the bat and do whatever you want, because he's been feeling it lately. He even had 4 barrels yesterday despite being over 4.
0-1 pitch to Reese. The check swing didn't go. It's a 1-1.
Yeah, and I think, yesterday, 0 for 4, but if he would have been at Alumni, he probably would have been 3 for 4 with 3 bombs. That's how well he hit the ball. So right now, if you're now the lefty switch hitter in the left-hand box, you're just thinking, I'm going to put a barrel on this and, let it go.
Another big hack. He is swinging for the fences, not just the fences, but the houses behind the fences as well, maybe even the mountains in the far distance. That one a big hack, 1 and 2.
Yeah, he might be trying to send this one just all the way to the Atlantic, honestly, with the way he's swinging right now. And you've seen the ball as well as Ripken Reese is. Don't blame you. Go ahead.
1-2. That one he went, says home plate umpire Brian Roth. And that will end the 4th, but we're tied up again at 8-8. A 3-run bomb from Joe Jakonski tied us up. And we'll head to the 5th with 8 runs apiece right here on ESPN+.
Joining us tonight is Adam, the birthday boy, and his friends. Ribby is going to be out past second base. The first group to reach Ribby as a whole group is our winner. Are we ready? Is Team Owen ready? Team Lila ready? 3, 2, 1, go! And they're up. Thrilling base. Great job staying off the dirt. Welcome at Churchill Downs. Gonna be close. Don't hit each other. And we have a winner. Great job. All right, everyone get out this way.
Welcome back to Alumni Field. If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot. 5 home runs, 16 total runs in this game, and we're tied at 8 into the 5th. With the way this game's going, partner, we could be here till the crack of dawn.
We're not even halfway through this game. We've seen 16 runs, 16 hits, and it's just been an absolute slugfest. 5 home runs, and I don't think we're going to stop with how these bats are just scorching. And all 5 home runs, of course, brought to you by Bruce Bolt. The blows blast by Bruce Bolt, the batting gloves, and they might have propelled some of those things because they bolted out of here. But we'll see if the offense can somehow slow down.
Casey Bishop takes a ball. Still Stephen Bangs out there on the mound.
There you go.
That pitch at the knees for strike one.
God, I mean, this is going to be won by what team, what pitching staff catches fire first.
That pitch in there for strike two. Bangs working quickly. Bishop content to keep his bat on his shoulders. And Bishop gets a hold of that one. Tracking back is Wiggins, and he'll secure the catch for out number one.
That's a big one. That's a big one if you're Bangs. I mean, if you can just put up a 0 and subsequent to what just happened on the offensive side, they scored 7 runs the last 2 innings. If you can put up a 0 and get the scorching hot bats back out in the field, Keene could have another lead in this one, and then it's just going to be a battle of can they keep it.
Ragsdale has singled twice and scored both times. That one a 2-hopper on the ground to Romano. He fields it, flings it over to first in time. Quickly 2 up, 2 down for Stephen Bangs. You mentioned it. He wants to get those bats back out there in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a pitcher and you go into the dugout and your offense puts up 3 and ties this ball game up, and you go out there and thinking, hey, I'm going to get you guys back in the batter's box as soon as I can, and it's a good start, but we've seen already once in the 3rd and then in the 4th, been a couple quick outs that Vermont just says, okay, and then they start their little rally going with offense, and you want a guy to do that. This is one of them.
Sam Angelo, a big hack, similar to the hacks we saw in the last half inning from Ripken Reese. Those two have so much power in their bat. 2 home runs now on the year for Angelo, and that one called a strike. You can see the look on his face. He wasn't particularly a fan, and quickly bangs ahead 0-2. 1 pitch away from a scoreless inning. That pitch outside for ball 1.
And he's been commanding really well, and this is a bat that you can't lose now. You were up 0-2, and you got the first 2 out pretty easily. You have to go 1-2-3.
Big swing and a miss. Stephen Bangs goes 1-2-3, punctuates it with a strikeout. And Keene will be up to bat and a chance to take the lead for the 2nd time after scoring 7 the last 2 right here on ESPN+. Back at Alumni Field, it's 5, 6, and 7 up for the Keene SwampBats in a game that's been all offense, 8-8 in the bottom half of the 5th. Josh Bartosa alongside Sean Massa. And Sean, you got what you needed from Stephen Bangs out there on the mound. Now Brennan Adams has to face 6, like we mentioned, 5, 6, and 7 in the lineup, and a chance for the SwampBats to take the lead.
Yeah, you finally put up a 0 the first, since the 3rd inning. Even that 0 in the 3rd, you still allowed a hit and walk 2, so it's still scary. It's the first non-scary inning of basically the day for either squad. I mean, it's almost like the top of the 5th didn't even happen, and it's got to feel good. You saw Keene kind of huddle up, and I guarantee Sean McKenna, Casey O'Brien, John Nowak are saying, hey, Bangs just did his job. Now go do yours and get this game back in your hands, because Keene had the lead for what really kind of felt like 3 milliseconds before Vermont took it back. So you're the SwampBats, you want to get on top, and you want to hold that position for a while. You want to make sure you're winning this game and you're keeping the lead.
You did mention it was a 1-2-3 inning for Bangs. The first 1-2-3 inning from either side in this game has been at least a base runner in every inning except for the top half of the 5th. And Brendan Adams looks to make it the bottom half of the 5th as he faces Alex Kolarko, and he takes a big hack of the first pitch for strike 1.
Yeah, that's a dude who's coming off of a home run, and that was a pitch that he thought was going to be a fastball down low, and was way in front of it. He had it actually pretty well in the barrel, just wasn't even remotely close to it timing-wise.
Another big swing and a pitch low, quickly behind 0-2. is the first baseman.
These are beautiful changeups, and if I'm on the mound, I'm Adams, I'm probably throwing him another one, just this one a little lower, so if he does make contact, it's nothing more than a rolled over ground ball.
Tried to change eyesight with a high fastball, didn't bite, did Calarco. And now it's 1-2.
Still think that low changeup in the dirt that might even bounce across the plate is still in play right here.
That pitch off the plate for ball 2. Calarco working well after going behind 0-2. Adams winds and fires. That pitch hit sharply foul down the first base line.
Once again, way in front of the off-speed pitch, and he has not been able to time him up, so if I'm Adams, I'm throwing him another one. Just, you still got a pitch to play with before the count runs full and you get in danger of losing him. You can put this thing a little on the zone and see if he just gets off balance and goes after it, and make it a pitch. Even if he hits, nothing's happening.
Another 2-2 pitch. That one skied into left field, but hooking foul. And no chance for Notarangelo to make a play on that one.
Yeah, that was almost a pitch where if that's a fastball, it's gone, but once again, off speed and wasn't able to time it up great. If you're Adams, you have to just keep hammering the changeups and off-speed pitches here because Calarco's not proven he can do anything.
That one dinks him, and just like that, after going ahead 0-2 and a leadoff man aboard in Alex Calarco, and the go-ahead run stands at first.
Yeah, this is big. I mean, the first inning, they've gotten a leadoff base runner. To think about that when they've put up 8 runs in 4 innings, this is the first time they have a leadoff base runner, so see if they can get going. And this is a guy at the plate that you really need to get going if you're Wiggins, but also a guy, if you're Adams, hasn't hit the ball well, and when he does in the last couple of games, they've been on the ground. So this is a guy that you're saying, hey, hit me a double play ball.
Wiggins 0 for 11 after going 0 for 2 today so far, and he takes a first pitch strike. Calarco takes his lead at first. 0-1 pitch incoming, that one high for ball 1.
Yeah, this is a guy at the plate in Wiggins that, you know, the talent's there. He was so highly touted out of high school for a reason. You don't get all that attention nationally by scouts, MLB scouts at that too, as well as NCAA Division I scouts without being talented and just trying to get used to it and really get one to drop and get the feel.
The Hoosier fouls that one off 1-2. Yeah, he was a guy that came in top 40 prospect in the nation. The number two prospect in Indiana by perfect game coming in to college. Had a great year this year for the Hoosiers, a 300 average, 15 runs batted in, 4 doubles as well.
Yeah, it's a guy that if he plays well is going to be a first-round pick possibly in 2 years. So
that 1-2 is jammed on the hands, but it's going to get down for a base hit. Notarangelo fields it, but now back-to-back base runners off a hit by pitch and a single. And the Keene SwampBats are in business. Nobody out, and 7, 8, 9 up to bat. Brett House.
It's a great job by Wiggins right there. They jammed him a little bit. They tried to go on the inside third of the plate. It seemed to ride into the left-hand box. And he got the hands inside of it and poked it opposite field. And that's a good tool to have as a lefty hitter. And there's the one that he just needed to see drop. It wasn't hard hit. It was only 76 off the bat, but he got green grass and gets on base with a base knock. Now you're starting to see if the offense can get going. It's Brett House. If anyone's going to continue the home run derby, it's 3-2 in the right-hand box right now. So be careful if you're Adams.
3 home runs on the year for House. We've seen Romano and Wiggins get their first. Now a bunt play. Adams will field it. The throw over to first is the only one there. And a perfectly executed sacrifice bunt for Brett House moves the runners over to second and third with just one gone.
I don't hate that one either. I mean, yes, it's Brett House. And as a coaching staff, I bet you I can talk to Casey O'Brien and Sean McKenna out there on the baselines after the game and say, that was a tough call to make, wasn't it? Telling a bat like Brett House to lay down a sacrifice bunt, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and in a game this tight, getting the lead right here would be huge. And now in a position for J.D. Jones, he's hit the ball well twice. All you got to do is do that again, and you could even just leave with a sacrifice fly, and it's at least something on the board.
Jones 1 for 2 today. That pitch high for ball 1. He hit 250 this past spring with Rutgers. Again, another Big Ten player on this Keene SwampBats team. Feels like their entire batting order is all Big Ten talent for the most part as J.D. Jones gets set to receive the 1-0 pitch. Transfer from Miami. That pitch catches the zone for strike one.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get any Big Ten hate here from me, being from, you know, the Mitten State, within 30 minutes of both Ann Arbor for University of Michigan and East Lansing for Sparty over there. So you're not getting any Big Ten hate from me. And these guys in the Keene SwampBat lineup and pitching rotation have proven to me what I already know. The Big Ten is a very good conference.
J.D. Jones fouls that one off behind 1-2. And yeah, the Big Ten doesn't get as much recognition as most would think when you have leagues like the ACC and the SEC, but it's a very tightly competitive division. We saw it. Penn State went on a Cinderella run, like you mentioned, and nearly took down Nebraska, one of the top teams in the Big Ten. Anybody can win on any given day in that conference, and for a guy like J.D. Jones, he's trying to win the day for the SwampBats. That pitch high for ball 2.
Yeah, and it's only going to get tougher with the expansions they've made, but the Big Ten gets a lot of unnecessary, not necessarily hate, you could say, but downplay, where they kind of try to say, oh, it's just a Big Ten, but you put up Big Ten talent against other talent, and you see they can hang, and it's kind of what you see with this Keene SwampBats lineup with all up and down. Jakonski, Molinaro, J.D. Jones has a base knock today.
2-2 pitch. Ahead of it was Jones, but gets a piece of it, staying alive, 2-2.
Yeah, fooled on that one. Was sitting fastball, didn't get it, and was just completely way in front of it. I like being able to get the bat there, foul it off. If you're J.D. Jones, you have a big single, and then you hit the ball well. You're one out in the fourth, which was a deep fly out in the center field. Just hit the ball and just be J.D. Jones and be the guy who committed to Miami and then transferred to Rutgers. Those are two pretty darn good schools. Be that player. Don't try to be anything more than what you are here. And even if you can put it on the ground fairly deep into the infield, there's no traditional double play ball, and you bet your Calarco's looking to take off.
That pitch, swing and a miss, but it gets away from Manning, and now the runner's going to go home. The play at the plate, not in time.
Knew it as soon as we saw Calarco, and honestly thought I had the announcer's jinx there. I said there's no traditional double play. That would have just been an ultimatum where I would have said, you know what, I'll just be quiet now. But heads up base running, and credit Sean McKenna for trusting in Alex Calarco and trusting in his ability to, you know, read the baseball diamond. And what a play. And now you still have one more at second base. I'm shocked with the IQ of Wiggins. He didn't take off as well there. We saw him a few nights ago here at home score the game-winning run on a bases-loaded wild pitch where he was at second base. So I'm surprised he's not at third right now, but now a big chance for Romano to continue after his big double last inning.
Very unconventional play to retake the lead, but this game has seen it all. And what better way to score the go-ahead run than off a swinging strikeout that went out of the glove of Lucas Manning. Forced him to throw down to first, and that allowed the runner in Calarco to get home.
Credit J.D. Jones for actually going on that one. Usually you don't see guys go down the line. They just kind of walk back, but credit to him for realizing that ball popped out and I can go, and if I don't go, nothing can happen. Most of the time guys don't even trot down thinking, it's just going to be an easy throw over, but that throw over is the reason that you're ahead right now, 9-8. So he struck out, but good awareness by J.D. Jones right there.
Quickly ahead, 0-2 is Adams to Nick Romano, who doubled back in the last inning, his first hit of the year for Keene. I was looking to keep the deficit at just one in an 0-2 pitch. He kicks and fires off the plate for ball 1.
Yeah, this is a guy in Romano that had an 0-2 count, if you remember his last time up, and fought tremendous, and was able to get a double on the right field line. So see if he can just do it again. Oh, it was 0-2, now it's 1-2. Starting to get a little reminiscing of what we saw an inning ago from Romano. Put together one AB, can you put together another quality one right here?
Very similar pitch to the last one, off the plate again. 2-2 with 2 gone. A 10th run for Keene standing on second base. That's Andrew Wiggins.
And he's fast. He's got a lot of speed. Plays center field for a reason. Patrols the outfield. So if you're Romano, you just got to be thinking it can be on the ground, just needs to get through, and Wiggins will go.
2-2 pitch, another foul ball for Romano. Stays alive.
Good fight. Very good fight. That's a close one on the outside, and that's one I don't think Romano wanted to swing at, but I think out of the hand he realized it's going to be really, really close, and I need to put a bat on it. He was late on the swing, but it was more of just a defensive swing where he wants to stay alive and kind of hope that Brandon Adams is going to leave one for him to drive.
He had a nice at-bat in the second before grounding out right back to William John and then was rewarded with a double last time up. That pitch on a line, it's going to get through. Wiggins is rounding third. The throw from Ragsdale is going to be cut off, or potentially cut off. Now the throw down to second, and now there's a pickle, but not a pickle because nobody was covering first, and it allows for Nick Romano to move back safely. So 2 runs scored in peculiar fashion. It allows for the lead to be extended to 2. And Nick Romano, after being hitless to start the year, is 2 for 3 today with an RBI.
Yeah, that's big. That's big for Romano to see one drop. He's finally getting comfortable, and that's big for Romano, big for Keene. And right now, if you're Sean McKenna, you're thinking, let's go to number 21 up there on first base, but you're also thinking, oh, here's another decision I have to make on a daily basis with this lineup card, with a roster that everyone you've put in has seemingly played really good baseball. There's another one that's starting to catch fire.
Lineup rolls over for the 4th time in 5 innings.
Yeah, we might see 14 combined pitchers in this game, and we're already at 6 combined, and we're barely halfway through.
Alisea chops one on the ground to first. Easy play for Jensen, who stomps on the bag, but not before the Keene SwampBats retake the lead with 2 runs. It's 10-8. We'll head to the top of the 6th. Vermont looking to get back on ESPN+. Welcome back to Alumni Field. Josh Bartosik, Sean Massa bringing you all the action between a home run-filled game between the Keene SwampBats and the Vermont Mountaineers in the NECBL. The 2 top teams in the North Division are playing just like it as 2 of the hottest offenses, 2 of the hottest bats. 18 runs combined. Keene just retook the lead 10-8.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a tale of 2 different stories in that 5th. Stephen Bangs goes 1-2-3 against 9-1-2 in the Vermont lineup. A 9-1-2 that been seeing the ball pretty well early on, especially 1-2 with Ragsdale Angelo. And then Keene finally gets a crooked number of their own back in favor. After 4 was put up in the top of the 4th, they finally get 2 more, and they're in the lead now. If you're Stephen Bangs, gotta feel good. If you can go out there and get through this quickly again, yeah, this could be the turning of the tides in this ball game.
You have 3, 4, and 5 up for the Mountaineers. Lucas Manning, Brendan Norton, and Max Jensen. Norton and Manning both got their first hits as Mountaineers their last time up in the 4th and scored.
Yeah, that 4th inning's the longest inning we've seen so far. I mean, Vermont sends 9 up, scores 4 runs on 5 hits, and Keene in their 4th inning had 6 bats, 3 runs and 2 hits, so.
That pitch gets away. Lucas Manning didn't have to move. It's a 1-1 count to the Wofford catcher.
Yeah, it seems like everyone contributed during that 4th inning. I mean, when you have 15 total batters with the 2 teams and 7 runs.
Manning fouls that one off. 1-2. The junior from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Originally started his college career at Holy Cross. 1-2 pitch. Manning lines that one over to second. Nice job by Alisea to throw it over to first in time to Calarco. And 4 straight batters retired. Or correction, I should say 5 batters retired in a row for Stephen Banks.
Yeah, he's been really good, and if you're Steven Bangs right now, you're firing on all cylinders, and this is the point where if you're Keene, you could start to see a little turning of the tide. You've been so good, and we're seeing a few SwampBats go over maybe to get loose. We could see one of them, Victor Squerdo from the U.S. Naval Academy, see a pinch hit situation.
Norton gets a hold of that one, fouls it off behind the grandstand.
Trying to wonder who that pinch hit situation would be for, considering that almost everybody in this lineup has been electric. The only person without a hit is Brett House, who just laid down a sacrifice bunt on a perfectly executed one.
Norton hits that one on the ground, and it takes a weird bounce at the edge of the infield grass and will go down as a base hit for Brendan Norton. He's now 2 for 4. Nothing that Molinaro could do over there at the hot corner. That one took a odd bounce. Goes in the favor of Norton and Vermont, and now a base runner aboard with 1 gone, and that brings up Max Jensen.
It's such a tough hop for Molinaro. I mean, he thought it was just going to bounce easily, and that's the advantage for a hitter and disadvantage for a fielder of playing on dirt versus turf, because that's turf. It's an easy 5-3 put out for the Penn State Nittany Lion, but inning keeps going.
Jensen held back his swing, 1-0 count, and now this is a guy in Brendan Norton who had 8 stolen bags this past spring for Jacksonville State. Potentially no stolen bases or attempts yet today for Vermont, who came into this game the second most stolen bases in the NECBL. They had 26. Sanford had 30 coming into tonight.
Shocking considering that Keene historically all year only has, I believe, 1 caught stolen as a team.
2-0 pitch is fouled out of play by Jensen. It's 2-1.
They haven't really been able to contain the run game of opponents. That's kind of what's come back to bite the SwampBats this year. I know it's still a young season, but that's got to be the scouting report early, so I'm shocked we haven't seen anyone take off, and I would not be shocked, though, if Norton does, however, do that right here.
2-1 pitch outside for ball 3. And Jensen has a chance with the green light with a 3-1 count to tie this game up with the 6th home run of the day.
Are you calling your shot right here?
Maybe. With the way this game has gone, I wouldn't be shot. Jensen gets a hold of that one down the line in left field. And that one is off the top of the wall. Jensen will get into second. Norton will stop his tracks at third. It's a stand-up double for Jensen, and now the tying run is just 180 feet away, and that brings up Nick Notarangelo.
Yeah, I honestly thought that was gone. It would have just made sense for not only this game, but for the conversation we just had. But now if you're at the plate, you're Notarangelo. You don't have a hit today, but you've walked in 2 pretty quality ABs in your last 2. Put the ball on the ground. It doesn't matter how it goes. Just get it through. This game could be tied off his bat. And we're going to have to see, an arm's going to start moving in the Keene bullpen. There hasn't been one getting ready yet. Maybe some stretching going on behind the scenes, but there's been no active movement going on. This is obviously just a visit with John Nowak. We've already established if it's John Nowak, it's a visit. If it's not, it's Sean McKenna, and it's a change. And it looks like Jaden Varner, the crafty lefty from Kent State, or Maction, maybe potentially in this game. He's been really good this year, too, so definitely a trustworthy arm that Keene is looking for to keep this game in their favor. But right off your bangs, that's exactly what you have to do. You were really cruising this game. You talk about 5 straight retired, single and a double, but you just have to focus up here and kind of forget about it. You were dealing early, just start dealing again. Do what you do best, and that's get weak contact, pepper the zone. And it's dangerous against a team that has scorching hot bats like the Mountaineers, but you don't get to pick your poison sometimes.
It's going to be a tough out. This is a guy in Notarangelo who's walked twice today after grounding out in the second. And he pops the first pitch up out of play. Bangs ahead 0-1. Brandon Norton at third, Max Jensen at second. They represent the 9th and 10th run of the game for Vermont. Big swing and a miss from Notarangelo. Ahead quickly now is Bangs 0-2.
You need this one too, especially. I mean, anything on the ground will probably tie this game up. So you just need a strikeout will be huge.
0-2 pitch. Hit on the ground. It goes underneath the legs of Jensen. Throwing over to first is Romano, but it will go down as an RBI ground out for Notarangelo as Norton comes in to score, and Jensen advances to third. So the Vermont Mountaineers cut the lead in half.
Yeah, I told you, anything on the ground will most likely score a run. That does. But credit right there to the runner, Jensen, kind of a wait. If he ran into that one, could have been not so pretty for Vermont, but now McGuire's been scorching 2 hot shot singles. He can tie this game up, and very quality bat to do so.
McGuire hits that one softly on the ground to third. The throw over. Nice job. A great pick play at first by Calarco on the throw from Molinaro. Beats out McGuire by half a step. And we'll head to the bottom half of the 6th. It's a 1-run lead for Keene right here on ESPN+.
Drink, launch, hydrate, win the moment.
We're very fortunate in Eisenberg to have graduate assistantships that help the student with the cost of the program.
Our graduate assistants have benefits, not only tuition and fee waivers, but very attractive stipend and health care.
McCormick and Eisenberg is one of the best bargains out there.
We head to the bottom half of the 6th. The Mountaineers cut into the 10-8 deficit. It's 10-9. But now a chance for the Keene SwampBats, who, like you mentioned, have been really hot these last 2 innings. 4 runs, 3 runs, then 2. They have to go against Charlie Coos, the new man out there on the mound for the Vermont Mountaineers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lefty going on the mound, and the last lefty we saw, especially early on in the game, in John's outing, Keene struggled against. It was the end of that outing where John tried to go into his 3rd inning of work that Keene started to, get a little bit of momentum going. But for the first 2 innings of that, there was nothing going for the SwampBats, and this is a big one. If you can put up a 0 in response to the 1 your team just put up, talked about it with Stephen Bangs. The team's losing, and he puts up a 0. Then Keene retakes the lead, and now if you're on the mound as Coots, you're doing the same thing. It's the same story, just a different font out there for the lefty wearing black.
Coots, he has appeared twice this year. Last came out against Danbury on June 11th. Got the save in 1 1/3. No hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and no walks. So trying to build off of that, get a quick 1-2-3 inning, and get the Vermont bats up. And it's tough to say because we keep saying the bats get them back up when they're hot. But neither team's really had those bats cool off in this game.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it's going to be who gets out of jams and who can cool off first, or who does cool off first, but we're through 5.5 innings of play now, about to be 6 if 3 outs can be given to the Keene. You've seen 19 runs and 20 hits, and I mean, it hasn't slowed down at all. Normally you'd see this big, it has to possibly slow down, but it hasn't.
And this guy hasn't slowed down at all either. Joe Jakonski hit by a pitch in the 3rd, and then had a 3-run blast in the 4th to tie things up.
Yeah, this is a guy that, I mean, talk about that hit by pitch can really wake you up. If you include yesterday's triple in the 9th, his last 4 ABs, he's gotten on 3 times. He's 2 for 3. He's got a home run, a triple, and a handful of RBIs. He's back. He's seemingly getting back into the form that we saw in week 1 where he hit 625 and slashed video game numbers.
Coots working away from him now in a 2-0 count to left fielder out of Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. Had a pretty solid summer last year in the Valley League. Hit 296, 35 RBIs, 10 doubles, and 4 home runs. Also had 3 triples. That pitch outside is quickly 3-0 to Jakonski.
Yeah, and Jakonski had no intent. I mean, you saw him as soon as that pitch was delivered. He kind of honestly shifted all of his weight back, like he didn't even want to give himself a chance to possibly go around. Brain said no, body might have said yes, so not trying to give it any, leave up the chance at all. If you're counting, if you just hit a home run, I'm taking the green light.
Jakonski started stepping out of the bag before that pitch was out of the hands, and he goes right down the middle for strike 1.
Yeah, I mean, you just hit a home run, you think you got green light, but at the same time, you're leading off this inning. Jakonski knows better than I do, obviously. Now, obviously, the green light, but you're leading off. You just want to get on, see if this offense can get going behind you again.
3-1 pitch off the plate for ball 4. And back-to-back innings with the leadoff man aboard. That was where we saw Keene take the lead, and now looking to build off of it.
Yeah, and it's big time for an offense that has been going. And talk about Joe Jakonski. I mean, this dude just gets on base. It doesn't really matter how it happens. He just tends to get on base more than almost anybody I've ever seen play the game of baseball. And it's honestly astonishing to watch. And Molinaro getting a sign. This is going to be interesting. Just stay out of a double play. And for Molinaro, you put the ball on the ground your last time up. So definitely not to be careful not to roll over it again.
Jakonski's reached base 3 out of 4 times today. That on-base percentage that was in the 600s is going to continue to climb after today's game.
He's reached base in every single game. The only game he did not get a hit would have been last time that Keene was home against Sanford.
And that pitch gets away, and it's going to be an easy jog to second for Joe Jakonski. And the new arm Coots, struggling early on, has a walk and a wild pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Jakonski, if you look at his season already, he's got 10 walks. He's been hit by a pitch 3 times. And on top of that, he's got 3 homers, a triple, and 2 doubles. It's just been such a good summer for him, and he's been such a good signing for Keene, and it's been really a best of both worlds, both the SwampBats and Jakonski's personal brand.
That pitch inside and back-to-back at-bats where Coots has gone behind 3-0, and now he's going to have a talk with his third baseman, Brennan Norton.
Yeah, I mean, that's leadership right there from an infielder to go over, and you like to see that, but you got to calm him down. I just got to say, as a pitcher, it's hard mentally to see all those big numbers on the board, and we're not even done with the 6th inning yet and think this is going to be easy, but you have to think that. You have to go out there and think, I can change this. I can be one of those sparse zeros up there. You can't go up there thinking they're going to hit this ball. I need to be really precise with it and pinpoint it in places they can't do anything with it. You just got to forget about everything that's already happened in the game.
Looks like the talk helped. He pumps in a strike, 3-1, but now a chance for Bryce Molinaro to unload his power. Back-to-back green light pitches. Jakonski walked. We'll see what happens to Molinaro. Molinaro, rather, swinging and fouling that one off, and Coots a strike away from getting a crucial first out with the 11th run standing on second.
Yeah, I mean, talk about Molinaro and Jakonski all summer. They got 20 walks combined now with 1 apiece here in this game. That up there alone wouldn't even be dead last in the league.
Southpaw getting ready for his payoff pitch. It's high, ball 4, back-to-back walks and runners on first and second. And now the big bat of Ripken Reese comes up to the dish.
Yeah, make it 21 walks now as a duo alone, and that's more than Upper Valley has as a team, and that's only 3 less than a couple teams. It's only like five less than Martha's Vineyard, and it's really, really close to a few other teams. They do their jobs and they get on base. There's no other way to really talk about it, and this would be killer if you give this up and get away from you for a big inning if you're not only Vermont's pitching staff, but mentally for Vermont. To give up this big inning, right, and you try to claw back, you get 1, and then for Keene to answer with a very crooked number would just be a gut punch seemingly.
Steve Bowley's going to go out and talk to Coots out there on the mound, and yeah, you mentioned it. You really need to try and find a way to stop the bleeding. This Keene offense we talked about coming into this game is one of the best in the NECBL, right up there with Vermont. But these Mountaineer bats have kind of cooled off these last 2 innings. Meanwhile, these Keene bats are not showing any signs of slowing down. Coots has got to try and find a way. We've talked about it. No double plays yet today. A ground ball would be huge for Coots. But this is a guy in Ripken Reese who does not hit a lot of ground balls.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a big hit in the first. He had a monster homer, obviously, in the third. And then he was swinging for the fences his last time up, and he's going to probably be doing the same exact thing again. I mean, we could see small ball, a little more small balls we saw in the 5th, but once again, we talked about it with Brett House. It was probably very difficult to give a bat the quality of Brett House, the small ball bunt sign, but Ripken Reese, a guy who's caught 6 barrels in the last 2 games and has a home run and a pair of RBIs. This would be an extremely difficult coaching decision to tell him to lay down the bunt. If he does, I'll be shocked. Wow.
Shows bunt, pulls back in time for ball 1.
Such a tough call to make, and I'm definitely going to make sure I, poke a little fun at Casey O'Brien, Sean McKenna, telling 2 of their best hitters to lay down the bunt. It's the right call, but it's just such a tough one when you got to bat the quality of Ripken Reese to say, hey, go out there and lay a bunt and just waste your AB.
Calarco is in the on-deck circle. He homered right after Reese in the 3rd. Showing bunt, that one down the 3rd base line. Miscommunication, Noren. That one goes away from the first baseman. He'll score a run. A wild throw from Norton gives Keene the 2-run lead back. And there was miscommunication between Coots and Noren, and it had to force Noren to kind of sidearm that one. It'll be an E5 that scores the 11th run of the day.
That's a tough play to make barehand. I mean, what a bunt, though, by Reese. And got to credit Norton, the barehanded play, and just had enough time to get rid of it because Coots was going after, trying to spin around. And a great, perfectly placed bunt. You're still 0 outs, though. That is one of those mistakes that can just cost you the game. And you never know if Calarco can get moving here. This could be 13-9 in the matter of 1 base knock. It could potentially be 14 if Calarco does it again.
That pitch is wild, and that will allow another run to score. Molinaro comes in.
That'll do it.
An E5 and a wild pitch, and technically, after the bunt, Ripken Reese finds himself standing on 3rd. Still no outs in this inning. It's starting to unravel for the black and green.
Yeah, and that happens when costly mental errors happen, and your 12-10 prediction's looking pretty good if we were playing a 7-inning doubleheader. But we're not even done with the 6th. It's 12-9, and Calarco's 1 swing of the bat, 1 ground ball to the middle of the infield away from making it a 4-run game.
Another wild pitch, and another run will score.
Wow. That's the only word to describe what we just saw. And Keene obviously put themselves in a great position with back-to-back walks to start it, but this has been self-demolition with an E5, 2 wild pitches. It has been straight self-inflicted damage in this inning, especially. I mean, you saw Coots, he didn't even make an attempt. He just said, you know what, this isn't going to be close, and kind of just turned around, and yeah, this has to be it. We can't see that dugout down the 3rd base line, but I'd have to assume the ball is being handed off here. If you're Charlie Coots, this is definitely one you want to forget.
No hits so far in this inning. 2 walks, 2 wild pitches, and E5 have scored 3 runs. That will do it for Charlie Coots. Another pitcher coming in when we come back right here on ESPN+.
372, 781. 372, 781. To a Cheshire Fair family 4-pack of tickets. 716 333. 716 333. Those tickets and merchandise. Yes, again. We have a gift card. 272, 781. And to the family 4-pack of tickets to Cheshire Fair. 716 333.
You're reading that score right, folks. It's 13-9 in the bottom of the 6th. 3 runs have come across in this bottom half of the 6th on no hits.
I'm sorry for that one. I kind of just had to go with a little chuckle right there. You know, I obviously knew there's no hits in this inning. I've been watching, but it's just funny to hear. It's insane to hear that 3 batters all have come across to score, and to think it all started with this an E5 on a perfectly placed bunt, and then self-demolition happened, and now if you're Max Moss, the new pitcher, it's just recuperate, try to end the bleeding.
Moss out of UMass Boston. He pitched in the last game against Mystic. He only went a 3rd. Gave up a hit, a run, and 3 walks. So we already talked about this bullpen being spread thin. You're already rolling in a guy who pitched 2 days ago. And this is a Vermont team that has 2 games in the next 2 games as well. 2 games in the next 2 days, I should say.
Yeah, for Keene, you want to take advantage of that wildness that you saw last outing. That's what the scouting report says. You want to take advantage of it and just make sure that you don't give them anything free. You don't swing at stuff outside the zone and just keep this offensive train rolling.
That pitch low, we kind of have to remember that it was already a 2-0 count to Alex Calarco, who saw 2 wild pitches. It's a 3-0 count to the switch hitter who's already homered today. That pitch down the middle for strike 1.
Yeah, and for Keene, this would be, if this score held and this was the final, this would be the most Keene SwampBats game ever if they were to win a game while either being tied or out-hit. We've done that more than a few times.
That pitch off the plate, and it's the 3rd walk of the inning. No outs still today in this 6th inning for the SwampBats. That brings up Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins 1 for 3 today. He singled and scored in the 5th. That pitch bounces in. Nice job by Lucas Maine to keep it in front of him, or it would have been the 3rd wild pitch of this inning.
Yeah, the self-inflicted errors are just so detrimental. If you're Vermont, considering that this game was in your back pocket and you were just right in it.
That pitch at the knees for strike 1.
You're still in this game with how this game's going offensively. 4 runs in an inning has happened twice. 3 runs has happened twice as well. I mean, this is not definitely out of sight yet, but you want to stop the bleeding while you can.
That one, a lunging play by Wiggins, could be a 2-ball, but they will only be able to get the out at second. Casey Bishop with the underhand flip to McGuire. Will be a fielder's choice, and finally Vermont gets an out.
That's big, and I mean, taking advantage right there. You got Wiggins off balance, and it's a tough one. We got a pinch hitter, and it's going to be Jake Koonin, and I don't mind that after Brett House. He was 0 for 2, had that sack bunt that went down as an 0 for 3, but this is a guy in Koonin that some more Ivy League representation. The first we're seeing for Keene today has really been pretty solid all year at the bat.
235 average, 2 runs batted, and a home run. That pitch low. Manning faked the throw to first.
Yeah, that home run was part of Keene's 5 home run game on the road at Mystic. It was hit in the 9th inning.
That pitch was a...
I think they called him for a balk on that one. So Wiggins get the free bag, and they take away a double play chance. And once again, another self-inflicted error. Just so tough right now if you're Vermont. It's almost like nothing can go their way.
1-0 pitch incoming to Koonin. He now has another runner in scoring position. It would make it 14-9. He hits that one on the ground softly. Bishop bobbles it, and there will be no play.
Nothing can go your way. It's so magnified. No bounces, and when it's mentally not happening, it's mentally not happening. It's exactly what happened now, and we're still in this inning. We're moving on to the 7th batter. There's only 1 away. 3 have already scored. There's been no hits still.
And there will be a pinch hitter coming up in place of J.D. Jones.
Yeah, it's Victor Escuerdo, the U.S. Naval first baseman, who was a really big part of the early season, struggled a little bit as we went on, but had a big hit yesterday.
That one hit on the ground, a potential 2-ball. Norton's just going to throw it over to first, and another run will score. No chance of the double play.
But add an RBI to Escuerdo, so he does what he needs to do. First pitch going after, not necessarily a great ground ball, but you'll exchange it. And right now, if you're Vermont with how this inning's gone, still no hits, make it 4 runs. You'll exchange 1 more run on the board for 1 out at this point with how it's been.
Vermont's just 1 out away from getting out of the disastrous bottom of the 6th. No hits like you mentioned. 2 errors, 2 wild pitches, and a balk. That pitch catches the inside black for strike 1 to Nick Romano.
And Romano's going off back-to-back base knocks, and they've been back-to-back beautiful ABs. This is a guy that if Keene can get going, he's already going today. If he can continue this, it'll make for a lot of competition in that dugout for spots in this lineup down the road.
That pitch also called a strike at the knees, and quickly ahead is Max Moss, 0-2 to the 9-hole hitter.
It's the 9th hitter, or the 8th hitter of the inning, excuse me. Jakonski led it off. But 0-2 means nothing on Romano, especially after the last 2 ABs he's put up.
That pitch up the middle, backhand, and it gets kicked off the inside of the shin, and now a pickle over at third. Norton in the rundown with Manning, and they're able to tag him. He went out of the way of the base path, did avoid the tag, but went too far in, and that's the third out, and still no hits, a wild 6th inning, 4 runs come across. This game has everything, 23 runs. We will head to the top half of the 7th right here on ESPN+.
4 runs on 2 hits for 2 errors, 1 man left on base.
As if this game couldn't get any more wild. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. 4 runs come across on 1 hit, 2 errors, a handful of walks, and the wildest ending to the wildest inning you can get. A pickle on the third base line that results in the runner stepping out of the baseline to evade a tag. And we're finally in the 7th inning, 25 runs later.
25 runs later, I think 10 years off my life, Sean. It's been a ridiculous game. We've seen everything. We've seen 5 home runs. We've seen sacrifice bunts. We've seen errors, wild pitches. We have seen everything that I think the game of baseball can ask for. There's only a few things that are really left on a bit. I think if I had a bingo sheet, I think every single square would be filled besides maybe 2. Not just for bingo, but the entire scorecard.
We even saw balk last inning. So yeah, you're probably right. Everything you could see, and my math has been horrid. 23 runs in this ball game, and a 2-0 count to the leadoff hitter. Santier just trying to get a little bit of life now. We're in the latter half of the game, and he jams that one foul towards the bullpen. And now we have 9 outs remaining offensively. You're only down 5, which you say 5 and you think a lot, but not in this game.
No, absolutely not. And this is a chance for a guy in Cam Santier who has some pop.
It's right there. It's high in the air right field, just not enough. Pop doesn't equal getting out. It's an easy fly out on the right field collected by Keene, who, as you remember, came in as a pinch hitter. He slots in right field now.
Well, for Vermont, right, you had a 4-1 lead, then you had an 8-5 lead. I mean, you've had some leads, but it's the biggest deficit that they have faced this season, and it being 5 runs so far. But like you mentioned, the offense has been hot, but the last thing that you can do here is quickly go down 1, 2, and 3 in this inning. You have to find a way to get some sort of offense and cut into that 5-run deficit.
But it's an 0-2 count. Casey Bishop hasn't taken the bat off the shoulder. Now he's got to shorten the swing, and Steven Bangs is doing exactly what Keene needed him to do. 0-2 pitch, that one on a hot shot to first, and Victor Escuero, right place, right time. Who says first isn't the hot corner?
I mean, he didn't have to move. That one went right into his glove. A great job over at first, and 2 quick outs for the Vermont Mountaineers. It's, you know, it doesn't necessarily feel like that would seal the deal in this game. Like we mentioned, there's still, at this rate, 7 outs left, but if you give up 4 on just 1 hit, and you can't find a way to try and climb back after giving up those runs. It feels more and more like the ability to come back is getting less and less.
There's a hot shot on the third base line past the diving glove of Molinaro. It dies in the grass and a wide turn around first, but eventually just staying right there is Ragsdale. He's got his 3rd hit of the night and a little 2-out life here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, Josiah Ragsdale 3 for 5. Now he's really had a solid start to his Mountaineers season, and now a chance for some 2-out hitting. Look, this is a guy in San Angelo. He's homered already today. He has a hot shot single back in the 4th. A blast here obviously wouldn't tie things up, but it would allow them a chance to cut into that lead.
Pitching change coming up. Sean McKenna sees the trend in this game, doesn't want to give in. We'll get you more on Jaden Varner when we return on ESPN+. A hot shot single by Josiah Ragsdale with 2 away extends the top of the 7th. Sean McKenna has seen this story before in this game, so he goes to the bullpen trying to evade history. It's Jaden Varner once again, the lefty from Kent State, making his 3rd appearance on the young season. So far through 2 appearances, 4 1/3 innings, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, a 1-0 record, and most importantly, a goose egg in the ERA category with just a 4.6 whip.
Yeah, he got the W his last time out, June 11th against Ocean State. Went 2 1/3, no hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. Not only is he one of the best arms out of the pen, he's got so much nasty stuff, but you get the matchup you want. It's a lefty v lefty matchup. And normally those favor the pitchers over the hitter. And so this is going to be a chance for San Angelo to prove that he has the ability to win those lefty-on-lefty matchups. Again, we've talked about it. It's a high school field. The dimensions are not what you normally see in this league. Already a home run today. He needs to find something to at least get a run across in this inning.
First pitch is not going to happen. It'll be snatched over to first on a pickoff attempt. Let Ragsdale know that Varner is not ignoring the center fielder over there at first base, as he sets in now to face Angelo. Angelo, a homer and a single with a walk, struck out his last time up, takes strike 1 on the breaking ball.
Yeah, Ragsdale, we mentioned earlier, has a lot of speed, but I don't know if you're trying to risk getting a 3rd out on the base pass. Still no stolen bases in this game.
Upstairs at the letters, a little bit of limbo at the plate by Angelo, sells that one to easily be called ball 1, and Varner with lefty-lefty, we've seen him spam front door sliders nonstop, low and away. Haven't seen him go to that spot yet. We'll see the 3rd pitch of the AB after his 2nd check at first.
It's going to be tough for Ragsdale to go just in general because you obviously have the lefty who's easily able to just stare down at Ragsdale, who's still shuffling over there at first.
That one's hammered to right field. Going to the track, it's going to fall 1 step in front. A wide turn, but the throw will come up. Runners at the corners after that monster single by Angelo. And maybe a little bit of life trying to get back into this one.
Well, really nice job cutting that off from Keene, who came in as a pinch hitter, like you mentioned, and has made the substitution out there in right field. He took the perfect track to that ball, because otherwise Ragsdale would have scored. Angelo would have been able to easily move to second, and then we would have had the 24th run of this game. But now, just 1 out away from still getting out of the inning with no damage. It would get you out of a jam as well, but this is a guy, Lucas Manning, who got his first hit today, looking to make it his 2nd and drive home that run.
Fouls off the first pitch. They go down 0-1, and if you're Varner now, the lefty gets away from you as Angelo gave it a ride to right field. Now trying to retire Manning, who singled back in that monster fourth inning where it seemed like everybody contributed. Watches that one on the outside fastball at 87, called for a ball.
Well, if you think that the amount of runs we've seen today is unorthodox for today, I think today's just a day where baseballs are flying. 12 runs have been scored in that Newport Upper Valley game. It's 8-4 in the top of the 8th.
Nothing compared to this one, though, as an ugly swing at that fastball. And it's 1-2, and 2 straight fastballs opens up the opportunity for a back foot breaking ball in the lefty-righty matchup for Varner.
And you go to the College World Series, a 9-7 game in the 6th, Florida State, Tennessee. There's just been a lot of high-scoring baseball. Obviously, like you mentioned, none like this, 14-9. I don't think I've ever seen a game get this high scoring in my life.
You, my friend, have not watched NAIA baseball. This is a normal game back at home for me in the Detroit area. But here in Keene, New Hampshire, it's 1-2. Angelo takes off, check swing, got him. Varner gets out of the inning. Runner stranded at first and third, and at another 0, the second in the last 3 innings for the Keene SwampBat pitching staff. We stretch, come back for the bottom of the 7th. We stretch, and now we enter the bottom of the 7th inning. You're reading it right. 23 runs scored in this ball game. Keene's pitching staff has put up 2 zeros and only allowed 1 since that monster 4 spot in the top of the 4th inning. And it stands at a 5-run lead for the hometown SwampBats on Pink in the Park night here in Keene, New Hampshire.
Well, Max Moss still out there on the mound for Vermont, and now you're in a position where you've got 6 outs left if you are Vermont. You really cannot afford to make it a 1 out per run kind of game. You have to find a way to keep Keene scoreless. You haven't kept them scoreless since the 2nd inning. They've scored 4, 3, 2, 4. And we talked about it. It really felt like the momentum had shifted in this game where this was a Vermont team that started off the game really hot but has since really cooled down 1 run in the last 3. Then you look at Keene, who just has no signs of slowing down.
It's the top of the order for the 5th time as ball 1's delivered to Alex Alisea, slotting on the left side, looking for his first hit of the night, and that's so odd to say with Alisea. But did walk in that 4th inning and came around to score on the Joe Jakonski home run. 1-0 count, takes it at the letters for ball number 2. And I think for a team with 11 hits and 14 runs, Alisea, one of the higher on-base percentage players in this team, not having a base knock yet, trying to join the party.
He has a good opportunity here ahead 2-0 in the count to Max Moss. And yeah, we talk about Moss just really needs to find a way to get out of this inning. It started with a great 2 innings from William John, and since then this bullpen has just been struggling today for Vermont.
Delivers strike 1 in the middle of the zone, an auto take by Alisea, who now looks to try to join the offensive party. Watches strike 2, and a 2-0 turns to a 2-2. Would be a big first out for Moss, and I mean, if you're Vermont, you're just looking for a 0 to match the 0, put up on the other side. Watches that one, missed the zone on the fastball. Gutsy take on the outside, but it goes his way. Count goes full to Alisea with Joe Jakonski standing on deck, and we know how dangerous that left-handed bat can be. How dangerous can this left-handed bat be? He watches ball 4, reaches for the second time, still hitless for Alisea, but has reached twice in 5 ABs.
It's the third straight inning with the leadoff man aboard, and those have been the big innings so far for Keene. 2 runs in that 5th, 4 runs in the 6th, and Joe Jakonski, we already talked about it, he scored 3 times, hit that home run. He is looking to unload another one. And I mean, the bat he's seeing the ball like it's a beach ball out there right now. There's nothing more you can say.
Jakonski has reached 3 times despite just being 1 for 2. Watches ball 1 down low. Manning tried to pick it up and get for a strike call in the bottom half. He did not. And now Jakonski in a slight hitter's count. It's already the 5th time through the order as that one gets by the glove of Manning trying to scoop it up. Alisea trots easily over to second, now in scoring position with no outs for double 3s in the box.
So many issues so far for this pitching staff today for Vermont. A lot of wild pitches, some pass balls. There's a new catcher on the mound, or a new catcher behind the dish. Normally Nathan Waugh's in that spot. Lucas Manning, his first game this year for Vermont, but you still don't normally see that many miscommunications, that many errors between a pitcher and catcher in just one game.
Jakonski turns on it and gets it off the inside. Sends it well foul and well out of play for the first strike of the count. So standing on second is Alex Alisea, and Jakonski trying to make it count it the 5th straight inning and the 6th of 7 that Keene has scored. They put up 4 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and 4 more in the 6th. And now here in the 7th are threatening as Jakonski swings through it for a 2-2.
These last few innings you've seen, obviously the leadoff guy get aboard, but then again, they're almost immediately being able to move over into scoring position and get rid of a chance for a double play because of some miscues by this Mountaineers defense.
2-2 count as Moss checks Alisea at second. Now delivers to Jakonski. Turned on, line drive to first. What a snag. Alisea heads up, gets back in time. Almost was an RBI double down the line for Joe Jakonski. 96 off the bat, but it goes as an out in the scorebook.
We saw one back in the top half of this inning in his square, who had a nice play over at first, and then Max Jensen does the same thing. It's a big play for Jensen because, like you mentioned, would have easily been extra bases down the line and another RBI. It's a big first out, and now a chance for maybe Max Moss and Vermont to slow things down, get those next 2 outs, and try and find a way to cut into this 5-run deficit.
Big time for Molinaro now trying to get up, but a big first out for Moss. 1-0 count as he missed down low. So a big out. Joe Jakonski nearly turned on it and added another run to the scoreboard. Alisea remains at second base with heads-up base running. Molinaro watches that one get by, and another pass ball. Alicea's at third with a wide turn, hits the brakes. His eyes lit up as Manning was a little slow to get back, but he'll settle in 90 feet away now on another pass ball, so a walk and 2 straight passes puts Alisea 90 feet away.
It's almost like deja vu from the 6th inning where we saw 2 wild pitches allow some runners to get over to second and third and eventually score, and now the ball hit on the right side of the infield could score that runner from third.
2-0 pitch. Molinaro watches that one bounce to the plate as well. Hasn't even had to think about swinging. He's in a 3-0 count. Standing on deck is Ripken Reese, who started out this game hot and has been hot ever since. Molinaro goes after the 3-0, the green light, looks back and laughs a little as he settles back in for the 3-1.
Sometimes you just got to take a swing. I mean, he's the guy that has had double and walked twice. He hasn't had that home run yet where we've seen 5 in this game, but I think he's looking for it here.
That was the home run swing right there. Goes through it to make the count full. Looking for a big second out is Moss, and Keene looking to not spoil the leadoff walk that has been gifted third base via 2 pass balls. Payoff pitch for Moss coming up to Bryce Molinaro, the third baseman for the Keene SwampBats. Down low, ball 4, and make it 2 walks in the inning. Moss fought back, but eventually lost the AB, and now runners at the corners, but still just 1 out.
Keene, if my scorecard is correct, has 3 hits in the last 3 innings.
Makes sense.
But yet they have 6 runs.
Makes sense. It's all adding up on this part. Casey O'Brien values extra base hits and walks, and he's told me that multiple times, and he's gotten a lot of some of those in the last 2 innings and a lot of the other in the first few. Snatcher over to first. They got him by a mile. Looking to extend on a wild pitch and can't get back in time. Manning, what a play over to first, and maybe something to build off of if you're Vermont.
That's a nice heads-up play by Manning and Jensen, both being on the same wavelength. You get another look at it on your screen. Guess got the glove in there in time. Jensen, since moving over from third, has had a really phenomenal couple of games and performances.
Reese deep down the right field line and tailing, being pushed in the air by Jensen at first base, but Ripken Reese just in front of it.
I'm not sure if Jensen really had any, say or any influence on that ball.
Let him think he did.
He's pretty emphatically waving his arms over there, and we'll let him think that. After making a play like he just did, we'll let him think.
Let him think he had an impact, but Ripken Reese on a 1-1 count now. He's got 2 singles and a bomb in this game. They credit him with a single on that bunt that got away from the third baseman, Norton. They credit him with a single advancing on an error, as he might have beat it out if the throw was clean. 2-1 count now as Reese back into a hitter's count. Just turned on it foul for the first strike. Watches that one at the knees for strike number 2 and doesn't love it.
Well, this would be just the second scoreless inning of the day for Keene if Moss is able to get that third strike. And like you mentioned, a chance to maybe build off of that for this Vermont team.
He now delivers the 2-2 with 2 away and got it. Only the second time all day Keene has been held scoreless. And for the first time all day, both pitching staffs put up a 0. The 8th inning finally will start on ESPN Plus on the other side. We'll be right back. Here it's the NECBL.
Ladies and gentlemen, for $26 is Brian Verhea. Tonight's attendance, 1,220. 1220. SwampBats, thank you for your support.
That box score isn't lying. 14-9 as we enter the 8th, and the 7th is the first inning. Top and bottom, we don't see a single run come across the board, but it was close. Had a runner at third minimum in each top half, but the pitching staff's finding a groove as we get to the 8th inning of play. Jaden Varner back on the bump for Keene, still working with that 5-run lead.
Nice job by Max Moss. Again, we saw 2 pass balls, but a nice throw down over to first to get Molinaro, who was caught lacking after what he thought was a wild throw. Now a chance for Brendan Norton, who we talked about. He had that error back in the big bottom of the 6th. He has a chance to kind of rectify that at the plate, get something going with the leadoff man aboard. It's been a while since we've seen some runs come across from Vermont. They did have that one in the 6th, but besides that, you really take away that big 4-run inning in the 4th. They really haven't done a whole lot besides that.
Varner up 0-2. He goes down low and gets him to go off balance. Takes a trot to rebalance himself And Brennan Norton trying to avoid his third strikeout of the game. He struck out twice to start, but the rebound has been really good. A double and a single in the 4th and 6th, and scored on both of those. Now looking to avoid 3 as he fouls that one off, and does avoid it, at least for the given moment.
You gotta find a way to extend this AB, get some pitches in the dirt, or at least try and get a base hit. You can't go down to just 5 outs left, and then you really it becomes a run per out game for Vermont.
Fouled off of Calarco, who is the new catcher in the game. There was defensive changes for Keene when they had that plethora of pinch hitters. Coonan slots in right field for House. Izquierdo goes to first for Calarco, and Calarco slides behind the dish for J.D. Jones. On the other side, Varner trying to get a first out, and he will via strikeout. The 3rd of the game for Norton. And Varner now is back-to-back strikeout, spanning to the frozen strikeout he had to end the 7th.
That was an all-or-nothing swing from Brennan Norton. Just wasn't able to get a piece of it. A nice job from this bullpen pretty much his entire game so far since that 4th inning for Keene.
Brings up Max Jensen, who had a few big plays at first base that last inning defensively. Takes ball 1 down low.
He nearly homered in the 6-2. His double went off the top of the wall, and that's where he was stranded. He was stuck at 6th. Or stuck at 3rd, I should say, rather. Just 1 run in the last 3 innings so far for Vermont. And it's been, for a team that came into this game as the hottest team in the league in terms of scoring runs.
And a conversation going on between Sean McKenna and Tim Roth as Tim Roth walked over and said, "I didn't like what you said." And Sean McKenna, I thought I heard, said, "What did I say?" Walks back now. Ironic, considering how much talking was going on in the beginning of this game between these two teams, and it seemed like it's quieted down, but a warning goes to the Keene dugout as ball 2 is delivered from Varner to the hitter Jensen.
I think there was a lot more talking because there's a lot more energy. We've been playing this game for 3 hours, and it's still the 8th inning. It's been a slugfest, a home run derby. It's been an exhausting game for both teams. 23 runs, 24 hits. It's been brutal.
3-0, Varner gets a strike to go for a 3-1. Trying to fight back and avoid a 1-out walk. Turned on by Jensen, was a little in front of it. And it goes full. Around the NECBL, Newport on top of Upper Valley, 8-4, still in the bottom of the 9th. The only game going on today as a rainstorm hammered the rest of the New England area. Payoff pitch from Varner, jams him a hot shot to second. Alisea waits on it, now delivers, and they got him by the blink of an eye. What a hustle by Jensen, but not enough, as Alisea delivers the first for the 2nd out.
Yeah, it really looked like Jensen almost was going to beat that out. He was hustling, showing so much speed down that first base line, but was beat by half a step. And it's really been a struggle for 5 straight batters retired. Or 3 straight batters retired after the Lucas Manning strikeout looking. And it's really coming down to the wire for Vermont. 4 outs left. They're chasing 5 runs. With the way that the pitching has gone in terms of wild pitches and pass balls, it could be a long bottom of the 8th as well.
And it looks like we're getting a pinch hitter as Johnny Knox has a bat. And I don't see Nick Notarangelo anywhere.
Well, it's tough to see Nick Notarangelo because he's so tiny. He's behind Mitch Holmes. But he is there. You also see Max Jensen talking. They're the 3 of them. I do think, we're still going to see Nick Notarangelo. I think Johnny Knox might be coming in for somebody else, perhaps, in the bottom half of that lineup, maybe in the top of the 9th.
Could be Braxton McGuire on deck, which would be an interesting one considering he's 2 for 3 and has reached 3 times with a handful of RBIs. But for the moment, it is indeed Nick Notarangelo. Walked twice and had a big RBI. One of the last runs driven in that 6th inning. As the first pitch swing gets an eruption from the Keene dugout. Varner delivers. Kolarko drops a glove and doesn't get the call for a 1-1. Right now, it just looks like the Keene dugout is having fun as jam shot pop up in the infield. Romano can't make the play. He dropped it. Oh! We play on. Here in the top of the 8th.
Just when you thought we were going to get a quick...
It looked like the Keene dugout erupted before Romano even had the ball, and it looked like Romano was going to join the party in celebration and just goes through, so costly right there.
That'll show up on SportsCenter, not Top 10. It is Friday. Now we finally do see Johnny Knox taking over for Braxton McGuire.
You know, if that's how I, as a broadcaster, end up on SportsCenter, so be it. So be it.
It is what it is at this point.
If that gets sent in and I get tagged that I was on SportsCenter for that, you know what, so be it. Any publicity is good publicity, I guess. But for the moment, there's 2 out, 2 away, and Varner trying to get out of this one after the error in a 1-1 count now.
Well, Johnny Knox, he's going to Quinnipiac next year, the CCC Player of the Year. 54 RBIs. You have to be able to capitalize on that mistake and that blunder if you're Vermont. You're already down, you're down by 5. You've got 4 outs left to go. Chance here for a guy like Johnny Knox, who had 13 home runs, 14 doubles this past spring, to put one in the gap and score that runner at first, at least give some sense of life.
Big swing on that one for a 1-2, and looks like he's just one of those guys that's one of those rare power speed combos, along with those 27 extra base hits, 13 home runs, 14 doubles, 27 stolen bases. And he walked more than he struck out, so definitely a steal for Quinnipiac. See if he can make the jump from Division III to Division I. We've already seen one Quinnipiac player take over the NECBL. Kolarko dropped that 3rd strike. He'll take off the 1st, but the throwdown's in time. And the error doesn't do anything, but we go to the bottom of the 8th. 14-9, still the score. And since that barrage of offense, we've had 3 straight half innings with nada. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 14-9 the score on ESPN+. I'm about to say something I thought I'd never say. We've reached our 10th pitcher between these 2 teams in the bottom of the 8th inning. A new arm on the mound is something we've said a lot for both teams. In Vermont, this will be number 6 on the day. It'll be number 15, Nate Isler, out of Dartmouth.
Nate Isler's another guy that pitched against Mystic just the last game. It's gotten to that point where the arms are so spread thin right now for Vermont, and such a tough stretch. He went an inning, 2 hits, 2 runs, 0 strikeouts, and 0 walks. Did have 24 strikeouts and 20 2/3 this past spring for Dartmouth. He was a region pitcher of the year as a senior in high school, was a top 30 right-handed pitcher in Georgia. Going into college, he has that capability. He has flashed it a little bit. And for Vermont, and I think everybody here that is trying to sleep in, get some extra sleep on a Saturday tomorrow, I think they want to see a quick 1-2-3 inning. I know that that's what Mitch Holmes wants, is what the rest of these Mountaineers want, for a chance to try and make a miraculous comeback.
Might be one everyone wants, is there's more baseball to be played tomorrow, and you guys got a long drive home. Mine's only about 7 minutes back to Keene State.
Don't rub it in, man. Don't rub it in.
Got to have some fun somehow. I mean, we've been here for 3 hours. It's the longest I've talked to another person here on air all season. Bottom of the 8th inning, the first hitter, and that one is out of the zone and out of basically play as it hits the netting.
I mean, I've been knitting this entire time. I've got a blanket. I'm going to make some mittens.
It is getting quite chilly. Calarco, the first hitter in this one, turns on that one under it, puts it foul for a 1-1. It'll be Calarco, Wiggins, and then set to be Jake Koonin. It looks like he will continue.
So just to recap today, we've had 5 home runs, a balk, a pickle, passed balls, wild pitches, warning, chirping. What else am I missing?
Unfortunate errors.
Yes.
And big defensive plays.
We have seen those.
We just have not seen a catcher's infraction yet. 1-2 to Calarco. Got him on the upstairs fastball. First strikeout for Nate Isler. And 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the 8th.
You know, in all of this, you know what we also haven't seen? A stolen base today.
It's odd for a SwampBats game, especially with, as of late, how opposing teams love to take off, but...
And this is a team that loves to take off. 26 stolen bases coming into today. They just have not just maybe wasn't in the game plan today. They haven't necessarily been in a position to try and steal a base because the majority of their runs have come off of some home runs and some big innings.
Andrew Wiggins to the plate, had himself a single back in the 5th and came around to score. Reached on a fielder's choice and also came around to score back in that 6th inning where Keene put up 4, and that was the last runs scored in this ball game. Andrew Wiggins was the last runner to score in this ball game all the way back in the 6th inning, which feels like a year ago. He's jammed on that one, puts it down the left field line, tailing over, trying to make the play, but running out of room down the line is Notarangelo.
There's not enough space for Notarangelo, and if take a look out there in the middle infield, that's Johnny Knox taking over for Braxton McGuire after pinch hitting for him to finish out what I think a lot of people are expecting to be the last chance to bat for the SwampBats, but with the way this game has gone,
don't write it out.
I don't think you can write anything down in ink just yet.
Seems like offense has quieted down as we've played 3 straight half innings. Threatening with 4 of no runs after a lot in the first 6. That one called for a strike to run the count full to Andrew Wiggins, who now has to step in and defend. Just got a fastball. See what Wiggins waits on here. 3-2 pitch from Isler. He kicks and delivers the Wiggins breaking ball that fell off a cliff and falls out of the zone for ball number 4. Wiggins reaches for the 3rd time today.
A lot of walks issued today by this Vermont pitching staff, and we've already seen after some walks these last few innings, pass balls, wild pitches have put a runner into scoring position. And for Vermont, you really can't afford to go down by any more than 5. 5 is already a tall task to climb. Making any more makes it even more so.
Wiggins dancing over as Koonin steps in and nails it center field. This one could be it. It looks up. It's number 6. Jake Koonin, something about that guy. And late home runs. He joins the party with a 2-run shot at 16-9 Keene.
Well,
my goodness.
I kind of spoke that one into existence. You can't make it more than 5 runs. How about you make it a 7-run deficit? And we talked about the offenses that kind of quieted down. Jake Koonin came into this game late. His bat hasn't slowed down. His bat didn't get a chance to cool down. It's just heating up. And that probably puts a nail in the coffin of this one. Look, at the top half of the 3rd, you said, and I quote, I don't think there's going to be a lead in this game that feels safe until it's 7. What's the lead right now? 7.
I like how you remember that, because I'm over here trying to remember what I said about 15 minutes ago. Victor Esquerdo watches strike 1 go in, grounded out in the first pitch he saw in his pinch hit AB last time, but drove in an RBI in the process.
Yeah, we're taking a look at that home run. I mean, straight to dead center. Nothing that Ragsdale can do. And how about Koonin? I mean, you talk about this lineup that was leading the NECBL in home runs. They've got 4 today. There's been 6 total. It has been a home run derby. We talk about, if you want to talk about the All-Star game being held in Bristol, Connecticut at the Blues Stadium, I think if you ever held it in Keene, I think the home run derby would set new records.
Be the most electric home run derby of all time. That's how you go for viewership chances. Put it at a park that's the dimensions are pretty easy to leave. As that one bounces for Escuero, it's a 2-1 count to the U.S. Naval Academy first baseman.
Well, for as the bases are empty now, it's really just trying to get those 2 outs, go up to bat, see if a miracle happens. But really for Vermont, they got to try and find a way to get on this buck as quickly as possible. A quick turnaround. They have a game tomorrow in Montpelier.
Best part about that one, there is no best part of that one. It's a tough turnaround to make if you're Vermont. And for Keene, coming off a tough offensive game yesterday, still walked away with the win at Bristol. And then they answer today with 12 hits and 16 runs. The 2-2 pitch to Escuero. He checks his swing on the inside. It will go full.
It's tough because only one off day. Vermont has played 5 games in a row, had the off day yesterday, then another 3 games in a row, and then an off day. So it's been 8 games. It'll be a stretch of 8 games in 10 days.
Yup, there's 7. Escuero right field up against the wall, excuse me. Almost made it, and it just dies. And Victor Escuero nearly joins the party opposite field. And there's 2 away now in the 8th.
I think I almost threw my pencil on that one. That one I really thought was going to be home run number 7 of this game. And run number 17 for Keene. This game, I have never seen anything like this in the NECBL and in collegiate baseball. You talk about the NAIA, but we have seen so much in this game, and it feels like every ball that goes off of someone's bat is going to find a way to reach over the fence.
It's Nick Romano with the top of the order for the count it, 6th time standing on deck. If Romano can extend this inning, he's reached 3 times, a double and a single with 1 run scored to his night. Watches that one go for a strike, even up at a 1-1.
And you go back to that double from Romano to get his first hit of the year in the 4th inning. That kind of kick-started a lot of this scoring for Keene. I mean, you had the 3 runs in that inning, then 2, then 4, but you had a lot of guys get their first hit. Andrew Wiggins got 1, Nick Romano got 1, and when guys finally break out of the slump, get the monkey off their back, so to speak, the rest of the lineup gets boosted, and we saw that. They put up 16 runs today, and 11 of those have come since Nick Romano's first hit.
He's in another full count, so make it 3 full counts we've seen in this inning. One was a walk, one was a deep fly out to right field. What will Nick Romano do? Trying to get to the 9th inning as Vermont. Nick Romano maybe looking to extend and add more insurance. The more the merrier. He's on first with a payoff pitch walk, and this game keeps going.
I mean, it would have kept going in the top of the 9th, but this bottom half of the inning keeps going. And what is this? The 6th time that we're going to see Alisea today.
Alex Alisea for the 6th time and nearing double-digit walks for Keene. They have 4 home runs. They have 16 runs, and Alisea puts this one in the air to right field. Didn't get enough on it, just off the lumber, and it's retired by Santier. We go to the 9th inning. It's 7-run lead for Keene off the 2-run blast from the Princeton outfielder, Jake Koonin. We're in the 9th inning here at Alumni Field. Jaden Varner back out onto the mound. Now has a 7-run lead to work with. And trying to get the last 3 outs before this game is over, and Keene looks to improve to 6-2 on the season. Already their second best start since 2017, where they were 7-1. This one chopped, first pitch to Molinaro. Front charge transfer, throws on the money. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Can ask for a better start after how long this game has been. And Vermont down to their final 2 outs. We're going to see Yo-Yo Sanchez come up to the dish, taking over for Casey Bishop. He's a guy hitting 133 on the young year. From Erskine College, a .390 average, 34 runs batted in. Also came in as a pinch hitter, went 0 for 1 with a walk and scored.
You can hear the Vermont dugout freaking out about that call. They don't like the strike call. And another warning. We're at 2 now, 1 for each side. Add another check mark to the list for things we've seen today at Alumni Field in the near 3.5 hours we've been on air. Down low for ball 1 from Varner. Brian Ross saying no more. And someone's going to be gone the next outburst. Don't know necessarily who. Would love to know.
I think if I can hear it from just being around the ballpark, that does sound like it's Mitch Holmes, who was told 1 more outburst and he's gone. But in this game, there are 2 outs left, and it seems kind of more of a situation of just let the game end versus trying to add to the score sheet, add to paperwork, add to the run time in this game.
1-2 count. Varner delivers upstairs. Called for ball number 2. 88 miles an hour out of the hand from the lefty from Kent State, trying to end this game. 2 outs remain with a 7-run lead. This one high in the air, but well tailed down the left field line. Everyone closing in. It's Jakonski on the line who makes the grab, and 1 out remains, so the SwampBats are 6-2.
That'll be 3 scoreless innings to end this game. 1 run in the last 5 for Vermont after going up 8-5. It's been a struggle for the offense. That's cooled down, probably regressing more towards the mean that we would see. They've been hitting so well to start the year, and it's just been a tough go. And it's a guy in Josiah Ragsdale looking to just keep this game alive, maybe add to his stellar day. 3 for 5.
0-1 count now for Varner. Make it 0-2 as that one's fouled off. Varner trying to get out of this one and send us to the weekend. 0-2 count. Jaden Varner delivers. Swung on and fouled on the upstairs fastball, reading at 89.
Yeah, Ragsdale's not going to go down without a fight. He's 3 for 5 today, like we mentioned. Zarizi's in that leadoff spot.
Watches it outside for a 1-2 count. The last life for Vermont, down by 7.
All they need is a touchdown.
And an extra point, but they won't get it. Down swinging is Ragsdale. Varner gets the leadoff hitter down swinging. 16-9 the final, and 6-2 record on the year. Vermont's woes at Alumni continue. We'll take a break on ESPN Plus. Bring you right back here at Alumni Field.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Please join us again Monday night as we host the River Valley Lighthouse. Good night, and please travel home safely.
Pink in the Park Night, a success for the Keene SwampBats. They improved to 6-2 on the season with a monstrous 16-9 victory at Alumni Field over the Vermont Mountaineers. The other team at the top of the North Division in Vermont falls to 24-46 all-time at Alumni Field, and now make it 1-4 in their last 5 here in Keene, New Hampshire.
Yeah, it was a tough go of things for the Mountaineers. They got off hot. They had that 8-5 lead, and you see it on your scoreboard there. And then those middle innings were really where Keene came to play. They had 4 home runs in this game. There were 6 total. And then finally, when the Bats continued to stay hot for Keene, they shut the door defensively. They only gave up 1 run in the last 5 innings against these Mountaineers Bats, and they really got rid of any opportunity for them to come back into this game when you go back to it. You kind of just heard Mitch Holmes. We heard Mitch Holmes talking about it during that TV timeout. You're never going to win a game with that many pass balls, that many errors, that many mistakes and mental lapses defensively. It wasn't a good game. Offense was good for Vermont, but when the defense and the pitching can't get it done with the amount of errors, you're never going to win a game like that.
For Keene, some bats got going, some bats stayed hot, and the team ultimately stays hot, 6-2, going up to their best record since 2017. I'm Sean Massa with Josh Bartosik. Thank you to everyone for joining us here on ESPN Plus. Thank you to our broadcast director, Stephen Pierce, our graphics producer, Ryan Hearn, our director of analytics and scouting, Milton Dauber, and thanks for making the Keene SwampBats and the Vermont Mountaineers a part of your beautiful Friday evening. So for Sean Massa and Josh Bartosik saying so long from Keene, New Hampshire, where the final score is, yes, 16-9. It's not a typo. All games airing on ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.